Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is BMT coming at you again. Um, yeah, I'm going to pretty much be doing my best. I'm going to be joined here for tonight's episode. Shout out to turning the show. I was going to turn on the light. I don't know if I'm going to cam up. Probably will. Probably will have to. I usually do. But only because I'm doing my journalistic job, doing my journalistic duty. Uh, so let me go ahead and get it ready for everybody. This is pretty much going to be one where we're going to have a roundtable discussion with that of professional peers uh, talking on a setting for this one. This one is on the topic of what happened at the nation's capital. I tried to keep a controlled mind about it, and I try to be very focused and steady when it comes to these discussions. Well, let me go ahead and turn up my link. Um, Here we go. So let me go ahead and drop this. Hang on. See you guys. Let me put the link right here. Here we go. And put the link there. Okay. So we're going to be talking about this one on the NOI as well as the Nation of Islam, as well as looking at that of what happened there today. There's a whole prefix of things that happened that need to be talked about. Um, because, first of all, I'm not going to go off of feelings. I feel like when you go off of feelings, they dilute the situation of what just happened. So we're not going to use feelings. We're just going to use the evidence that is put before us, as well as we're going to have people to give a breakdown of what just happened and took place. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely need to be very mindful of what's happening. Our nation, I told y'all, these things, they're going to clamp down. They're going to clamp down and they're going to get a lot more harder. Like all this stuff. These attacks on the nation's capital, they have to be addressed. They can't be overlooked. These are taken very seriously. Um, you know what I'm saying? If you're coming on in, like the video, share the video. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Jazzy? What's going on, Renaissance man? Um, you know what I'm saying? I'm just waiting for Michelle to get on in here, and that way we can really get it kicked off. Um, and I'm going to pull up the information that we have on Noah Green, as well as the situation of how we're going to probably be moving forward with the series of this issue. So let me go ahead and pull up the people. Joining us here tonight, of course, is attorney Nichelle, as well as professional guest host for tonight, Miss Nikki Cochran. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, can y'all ladies hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, and I think Miss Nikki, she's on mute. That's fine. I'm pretty much just taking care of everything. But Nichelle, go ahead and give us your opening while we're getting everything squared away. Go ahead.
If you haven't heard, there was an attack at the Capitol today. A young man by the name of Noah Green, who's allegedly 25 years old, who had just recently lost his job, inspired supposedly by videos that he had seen of the Nation of Islam, he took it upon himself to drive across state lines and ram the police, the Capitol Police, at a barricade to the Capitol. One officer was killed, the other officer was injured. Upon crashing his vehicle, Noah Green allegedly got out of his vehicle with a knife in his hand and ran towards other officers who opened fire, killing him on the spot. Now, as bizarre as this case may be, this may have been the post that he made on Facebook, may have been a brother crying out for help that were just overlooked. Or this could be something even greater. Who brings a knife to a gunfight unless they want to die? And aren't there easier ways to die than driving through across state lines, ramming your car into a barricade, and then getting out and getting shot to death? I mean, the ramifications of this, Nation of Islam is already getting inundated with phone calls from all types of national media for their take on why this young man was radicalized by the Nation of Islam. So please understand, the United States already has several African American groups, such as the Nation of Islam, on the domestic terrorist list as radicalized Black extremist groups. So if they can directly tie this young man to any such groups, that could cause for all kinds of further and additional investigation into Black movements. Nikki, can you hear me? Dr. Cochran.
There?
Joe, I can hear you barely.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear.
I definitely wanted to switch up and actually go ahead and let me fix my camera. So what's going on, everyone? This one, I already know I had to get out of bed rest to actually want to do this one. But definitely, Nichelle's like, Joe, get up. And I was like, what happened? She was like, you're going to want to do this one. And I was like, oh boy. So if Nichelle says get up, I get up and I move. Especially for this one. So, and looking at this one right here, what's going on, everybody? See, I even got dressed and got in my uniform for this one. This is going to be this is a really sticky one right now because already the Nation of Islam is already under scrutiny. They're already under FBI watch by the feds. Correct? I believe so, right, Michelle? They're already under scrutiny by the FBI. So this does not make it any more easier. Especially with I think Louis Farrakhan having so much stuff inundated against him. You know, he has so much stuff inundated against him. Michelle, you there?
I'm here. I'm back. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. So, I
mean, you have to understand that basically you have a young brother, college educated, 25 years old, looks fairly attractive. I would love to have him as a son as far as appearance goes. Look very clean cut. That's what I'm trying to say, people. But anyway, to make a long story short, this man obviously was going through something very, very life-altering in his life. And his friends and family didn't catch it. And that's why he is now dead. So sometimes you have to understand, you know, we all say being a Black man ain't easy. Being Black in America is not easy. But had this man gotten to the point where it was like PTSD, it was just one thing too much, and there was no other direction he could find in his life but to go out in a proverbial blaze of glory. And what message does that send to other black men who are struggling?
Now, let's go ahead and look at this because everybody's like, I know some people saying, uh, we know some people say that the nation, the NOI, is with Antifa. I don't know what the hell the NOI would have in I don't know what they have in comparison to Antifa. I would love for somebody to one day tell me or show me how they have something in common when literally the NOI is older than Antifa. They are, you
They
know,
don't have a common
uh,
goal. I
they
mean,
don't
you're
have
talking about
two
Nation of
right,
Islam teaches people self reliance. To
yeah,
start their own businesses, to work within their own communities, to provide for themselves. Anif, or whatever you want to call it, they're all about the corporate greed is killing us. We need to be making more per hour for flipping burgers. I mean, they're totally opposite of each other, but
right,
they're trying to tie in the hippie movement with the black movement like they did in the war on drugs.
right,
You couldn't say it was illegal. You can't say it's illegal to want more money at your job. You cannot say it's illegal to be black. But that just like in the 60s, 60s and 70s, they couldn't say it was illegal to disagree with the war. They couldn't say it was illegal just to be black. But by painting them as subversive, their activities were subversive. That
uh-huh,
the hippies were into marijuana, the black people were into crack and things like that. We became subversive, and that they could make illegal. So now that we have, these groups that are speaking out for reparations, groups that are speaking out saying, look, just because you don't call me nigger to my face does not mean that when you sit up there and say, Madam, sit down for no damn reason, you tell somebody to lay down face down on the hot concrete, they might as well have called you a nigger if they're gonna let you get your face burnt on the concrete. Which one would have been the lesser of two evils?
So so listen, y'all. I want y'all to do me a favor. Right now, we know this is a hot topic. We know that this is a very triggering one, especially dealing with the nation's capital and everything. Do
Joe,
me a
can you
favor.
mute Nikki, or is that on her end?
I don't have her muted. You listen. I don't got her muted, girl. Not
I'm
me.
I'm
I
I'm
shit. I
sorry. I'm in a house with a lot of people and I'm having
oh
some kid issues, so I'm trying
Oh, no
to
problem.
escape the
Nikki, listen.
rooms.
We
Yep.
are parents over here. We get you. We get you. I had to go lock mines in their room, so you are good, Nikki. Don't worry about it. Parent first. Parents' lives matter.
Yeah, so I
So
had to
don't worry about
extricate
that.
myself. So I'm on, I'm listening. I'm just,
We got you. We
have
got you.
background music.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you. And we're glad to have you
Nikki
here.
and I
So
were talking earlier. We were talking
mhm.
earlier. One of the things that when you have these kind of incidents, now, I was on the phone earlier today with some people talking about people like Medgar Evans and the timing of his death, the things that were going on along the way to send a chilling message to others. So the question becomes, why? If even if this man was insane, because you have a lot of people that have mental illnesses, they have breaks with reality, but it's still real to them. It may not make any sense to us, but it will make sense to them. That's what a lot of people don't understand about mental illness. It makes sense to them. They don't think what they're doing is crazy. They think they are doing it for a particular purpose. But in addressing his actions, why was he doing them? Why did he do what he did? We know that what was his name? Hinckley, the guy who shot President Reagan. He
Mhm.
had an articulate reason as to why he shot the president. He wanted Jodie Foster to notice him.
Wow.
You have so many other people, they have an articulate reason. Why did the boy go into that black church and kill all those people after sitting up there praying with them? Because he wanted to start a racial riot. He thought it was his duty to his fellow white compatriots to be the brave one to start the race riots.
No, accomplished. You sure enough did that.
So the question becomes, why did this man do that? or was he a willing pawn, willing or unwilling pawn in some greater conspiracy? Because regardless of what he posted about Farrakhan, tying himself to Farrakhan's videos, has anyone ever heard anything in Farrakhan's video telling them to go out and run down some white folks?
Well, I would definitely, uh, like I said, I definitely want to have the conversation. I'm only doing this with the like. I'm joined up here with Attorney Nichelle, and I'm also joined up here with licensed therapist Nikki Cochran up here. But I'm also willing to have the conversation with um only with somebody who has a polar opposite view. I don't need people to come up here and start having like their little saying. I'm not here for that. But I definitely want to have it with people who like, hey, like, nah, it was with Antifa. This is definitely a work of certain such group. We're definitely here. Like me and the show, we have these conversations every day on different other platforms of this. As far as I know, they got nothing to tie this to the NOI. Like you're gonna have a
No,
hard
nothing
time.
at all. And you
There's
can't
nothing
just
right
up
here.
there. You can't just sit up there and dismiss mental illness and say he must have been crazy because why else would he have ran at the police
That was a
with a knife
suicide.
in his hand?
That was a suicidal. That was a suicidal run. If
Endeavor,
that
it
was
definitely was.
that
But
was
does
a
that make
suicidal run.
was it suicide? Let me say it like this. You know, in forgive me, broader Islam, in Islamic countries, they do have suicide bombers. They do have people that intentionally decide to take their own lives as a matter of public statement.
Right.
Now, rather than just dismiss him as saying, "Oh, he must have been crazy. He knew he was going to die. He wanted to die." Was there some kind of statement that he was trying to make?
See, the thing about it was this, and let me say this, and I'm gonna be triggering. I'm gonna be the bad guy for once. And I'm gonna show y'all. The man rammed the gate. I believe an officer died, correct?
Yes, one officer died. The other one's in non-life sustaining injuries. He's in the hospital, but he's not critical.
How come they didn't bring him back alive?
Which one? The one that died?
No, how come they didn't bring back Noah? How come they didn't bring him back alive?
Like I said, was
He
again.
he he got out he
He
got
had
out the
a
car.
knife in his hand. He had a knife in his
He got
hand. There have
he
been
got out
plenty
the
of white boys that have had guns in their hands that they brought in alive.
he got out the car with a knife. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make it.
Didn't make it.
I'm just saying anybody can come up and challenge this. I'm just saying it just amazes me. y'all can't y'all gonna have to jump over some hoops with me for this one tonight. How is it possible we don't ever hardly make it back alive, dude? Like listen, man, he knew that was a one trip ticket straight like to where he was going. He knew that. Like he knew that. One black guy got out the car, even after I get it. He killed somebody. I get y'all. Y'all like BMT, that's extreme. Walk with me on this crazy side. He didn't make it back. We've had some people do some far more. Dude shoots up the goddamn movie theater. That dude's still going to court. Dude shoots up grocery store. Somehow he's still alive. I don't know how these dudes do these mass murders and they always make it back alive. Like, the fuck is going on, man? Like, seriously. Dude uses a knife. He dies. Like, I'm just saying, somehow we never make it back.
I mean, don't forget about the girl. Don't forget about the girl who went to the White House. Went to the White House.
Listen, I'm telling you, she should have complied. She should have complied.
Gun
She should
down.
have complied. Hey,
It's like
should
she's
have
backing
complied.
up. They fear for their lives, and they start shooting into the car, and then go on a wild speed chase. If you're chasing somebody, how are you fearing for your life? If you are chasing somebody, how are you fearing for your life?
You should have complied. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Wear your mask. Stick on that. BMT will stay on that goddamn thing. I fear COVID, and I fear for my life. She should have cat on a mask, and she should have complied. Back away from the window, ma'am.
In all seriousness, when the attack first happened, the first thing came across my feed. I have a lot of conservatives. I love them to death. They're entitled to their opinion. I understand they feel very downtrodden right now. It was, okay, this cannot be a white male because they are withholding the description of the suspect. Therefore,
I don't think white people can afford to go around the Capitol that much anymore. Like, y'all, just stay away from the Capitol, man. Y'all getting in enough trouble as it is in this country. Just stay away from the Capitol. Y'all, you just stay away.
And within 35 minutes of it being announced that the incident had occurred, the next wave out here are my pseudo-intellectual Black conservative friends going, it's a Black Muslim, it's a terrorist, it's a Black Muslim. So understand, Black conservative,
Black Muslim. That's all they need to hear. Black Muslim.
Yep. It is a terrorist attack, and it's like they will feed on the narrative. Be prepared for Candace Owens to come out on this one.
No, that is so true. Thank you, Roland Martin. Thank you. Roland Martin says that. He says, remember Aaron Alexis from the Navy shipyard. Damn, that is actually a good point. Like, God damn it. Like, how the fuck do they be? I think, listen, man, if I got to go do a crime, I'm painting myself white. I stand a better chance of making out that bitch. I just do.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
look at all the motherfuckers in any other enemy of the state. They painted themselves white. They all made it back for the most part, except for the woman, but they all made it back.
It's two issues. It's racial and it's mental illness that are separate. But the consequence for anybody who is Black, who confronts or does anything towards police or any sort of authority, gets, shot first, questions asked later. Not that I'm not justifying. I mean, it's horrible, but this is our.
But we're not justifying. Like, understand this, y'all. Listen, we're not justifying. We are law-abiding citizens here. But y'all, we can't ignore it. We just can't. No. Listen, us two up here are law-abiding, highly educated people. We just can't. You can't. I mean, we're looking at the tally marks of who comes back on which team. We ever come back, man. Like, he knew. No one knew, bro. I'm not coming back from this.
We rarely come back. If we come back, it's a fluke, or it's grace, or it's a something else. It's not. The intention is to kill us on sight.
That bullet missed you by accident.
Exactly, and best be sure that there's another one coming right at you if you don't duck.
Right, and if there's all this concern about, everyone's first instinct is a man must be crazy to run at the police with a knife. Okay, you guys have how many years of training while you're on the force, before you get on the force, and you see a man who was just in a car wreck? I mean, it was a devastating car wreck. I'm sure he hit his head.
He rammed the gate.
I'm sure
he rammed that gate pretty good.
Yeah, so they didn't think about, okay, this guy is probably delusional right now because he hit his head. He could have been suffering from some kind of medical issue. The reason it could have been an accident. He might have been having some kind of seizure, and he couldn't get his foot off the gas, and he accidentally rammed into the thing. He gets out of the car, delusional. He has a knife. Who drives around with a knife? Come on now. But anyway, he gets out of the car. They say he lunged toward them, so they had to open fire.
Very smart words. Very good words, DC. Capitol Police. Good word to use. Good words to use. I wish you would have used those words on January 6th. You should have used those same words, but you didn't. You should have used them same words.
If they had shot anyone and everyone who lunged at them with an object in their head,
how the hell didn't you use that same terminology on January 6th? You should have used the same word when they were beating y'all with damn sticks and gas and shit. Y'all didn't use lunge then, but damn, I guess, hang on. So we had one person, shout out to the people, and I got to read y'all comments. Y'all comments are very interesting that we will definitely be going over. They don't want to make us eat our words and spout hateful messages using this as a crucifix against everyone. And yes, I realize that profile. Yes. So thank you. Now, we want to have a good dialogue. This is not a dialogue of fighting, but we want to have the dialogue over this one. I copied his Facebook page before it was taken down. Oh, okay. Hey, you gotta share me with that. I definitely want to go over it. I drive with a knife because I don't have a gun yet. Well, thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Let's look at this. Okay, so let's look at this. All right, and let's start going over whatever we got let's go over the stuff that we do have for us three. We do welcome people to have the discussion. We'll open up the panel in a few, but we definitely want to get out the information first. Right, ladies? So let's go ahead and do this real quick. So the first thing, because like I said, his Facebook has already been grabbed. They already grabbed that shit quickly in a hurry. All right, so let's look at the stuff that we do have. Shout out to Nichelle for going and getting as much research as she can. Right now, because understand the feds are quickly combing through his social media as well as his family. They always want, listen, y'all, I'm gonna tell my family, don't shut down shit. Leave my stuff up. Let the public decide. Y'all gonna do it anyway. Y'all might have to go ahead and read all my stuff, every spoof, every video. Don't turn down anything. If every one day I do something stupid. But Noah Green, a former college football player and Nation of Islam adherent, was named as the knife wielding, now deceased suspect who rammed a car into the U.S. Capitol barricade, exiting with a knife and killing one police officer while injuring another. Green's Nation of Islam beliefs emerged through a review of his now deleted Facebook page by Heavy. Although police have not specified a motive and say that they don't believe the attack was terrorism related. On Facebook, as recently as March 2021, the suspect expressed admiration for Elijah Muhammad, and now deceased Nation of Islam leader, who was a mentor to Malcolm X. Green referred to himself as Noah X. Oh, so that's why they call him a Muslim. Wow. So if you just say you're X, then you automatically get a Muslim brand on you?
I mean, that is wild. It's one of the things. The Republicans are quick to quote Malcolm X on how the Democrats are playing black people. But then if someone adheres to the Islamic faith, they're terrorists. I don't like hypocrisy. You use the words that you like from the man, but then you turn around and call people who follow those same words that you said were great, you call them terrorists.
Hey, you got to pick something. To some people, Jesus was a terrorist.
My whole thing is pick a lane, stay in that lane, okay? The left lane is just for passing. The right lane is just for exiting. Pick your lane. Where are you going? Very white of me. You're right.
Now, so the 25-year-old former multi-sport athlete. Wow. So he had a lot of stuff going for him. God damn. So the 25-year-old, y'all know my eyes are bad, y'all. So let me go ahead and turn off this bright light, but y'all know my eyes are gone to shit. So y'all be patient with BMT. Y'all know me. Michelle got me reading. You know my eyes are gone to hell. The multi-sport athlete with ties to Virginia also indicated that he was facing many difficulties in his life,
that were adding up in recent months, including unemployment and hunger. Writing, I haven't had much to lean on because he faced fear, hunger, loss of wealth, and diminution of fruit. What the heck? What? Oh, Nikki, you gonna have to break that down to me, girl. What that means? Diminution of fruit. In other posts, he said there was much confusion in this day and age, and in my perspective, citing the ongoing COVID crisis, unemployment rising national debt, division within the political sphere, and rumors of wars and the like. Wow, he sounds like the Christians. Man, y'all might have a lot of
comments. That's what I was
comments.
get you to say. That's why I said, what is the agenda?
Like the Christians that I know. Man, y'all might have a lot of comments. Hey, I'm about to start watching my Christian friends. I got to start watching y'all when y'all start saying stuff too.
So think about this. Think about it. The man said he was worried about not having a job. Okay, that means he's easily to be exploited. He's easy to be exploited. When people are desperate for money, they'll do some crazy ass things. Even if they are slightly crazy, the fact that you don't have any money, you can be manipulated. The fact that he got out of that car, if he was intending to go on a mass killing spree, if he was intending to go on a mass killing spree,
I would have stayed in that car.
Stayed in the car, had a gun with you. Had a gun with you. Because if you had a gun
up and ran around.
No. Did you hear the term national debt? He was concerned about the national debt. What 25-year-old is concerned about the national debt?
Somebody who is already mentally fucked up. Like
somebody that has been fed information, someone that is being used as a pawn. You don't put national debt in your manifesto for your suicide as a 25-year-old with no kids. They haven't said he had any kids yet. Hadn't said he had a wife. Hadn't said he has a mortgage. Why is he concerned about the national debt? Listen to key words. National debt. And a tie to Nation of Islam. When has the Nation of Islam been concerned about the national debt? The national debt Nation of Islam is what the United States owes the descendants of American slaves. That's the debt that society owes as far as the Nation of Islam is concerned.
So right, we're about to pass it over to Nikki if she's ready. He wrote that now this is the headliner. I want y'all to catch this. This is the headliner. This is getting good. Michelle brought me a good juicy one. So he wrote, "My faith is one of the only things that has been able to carry me through these times, and my faith is centered on the belief of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as Jesus, the Messiah, the final divine reminder in our midst." This guy, listen, y'all, I've been on the battlefield many times. I have talked to many men and women and children before they pass. When they start speaking on faith, faith is a believeth system. Faith is a believeth system. It's an action word, something that you act on. When somebody starts talking about faith and carrying them, listen, somebody's getting ready to leave. They're already starting to make their rounds. But let's pass it over. Nikki,
I say that all the time, Joe. I say that all the time. I mean, every time I get out there and drive and don't get a ticket.
You done beat death. You don't count. But listen. Right there. Hold on. Wait. Stop, Michelle. Let's stop it right there. You done beat death, and you done had times where you almost died. So when you talk about it, understand the context of where you're speaking from. You're speaking from somebody who has already tasted and already dealt with death. You can't say that, hey, not necessarily. I can speak on that because I have almost died quite a few times. You speak on that because you have had times you have almost died. When people start uttering stuff like that, like the way he is, there's no way high scholar athlete, going to school, multi-sport, good-looking young man. Y'all cannot deny this man has had a lot of things in his favor. But now all of a sudden, you're talking about hunger, strike, all this kind of crazy shit. And now you're talking about you ain't eating and you got the disposition of fruits and stuff. Nah, no, y'all not going to tell me he was in his right mind. And not to mention he had health problems going on with him. Listen, that's a man that was making his peace with something. So it's going to be kind of hard on this one. Because listen, when it get into that of what he did, we can understand that there's something more to this man. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something more going to it. I don't like y'all gotta understand. After COVID, everybody was joking around and joshing around that COVID wasn't that big of a deal. I'm sorry. Mental health or mental illnesses have skyrocketed up since COVID. I'm not sure if y'all know what was the suicide rate since COVID happened.
It's increased. It's definitely increased.
I want to ask Nikki that. What was the suicide rate, and plus, what was the mental depression rate since COVID?
Yeah, I don't have those stats at the moment. I'm gonna have to look them up, but it's probably more now than it was prior to COVID. COVID has been very stressful for a lot of people worldwide, truthfully.
Thank you. Now, it's okay. I know we don't have the numbers right now. It's okay. But I could tell you right now that talking to my psychologist alone and my therapist, they have been more busy ever with doing telecommunication health. More veterans have been taking their lives. More people who have lost everything have been just like opting out. Like there's a reason why people have to like do checks on people because business is gone, livelihood gone. You gotta understand what sports and different things have shut down. Like you literally lose everything. So after a while, people start saying they're looking for something to believe in. Anything to believe in. The best time to go when you see people start running to some type of belief system is when it's a worse system. You just don't got nothing left to fall back on. So we're looking at it where Mr. Green pretty much had already hit at rock bottom. If that was the case, if we're going to say that wasn't true, then what was the whole point of people marching out there in the streets, begging and screaming for something or anybody to help save them from the debt of literally the losses of jobs?
I mean, a lot of people, he seemed like an A-type personality. I mean, he was a multi-dimensional athlete, college graduate. He seemed like he was defined by success. So taking that into consideration, I don't like to just sit up there and use the word, oh, that guy was crazy, and not be able to see the warning signs in other people so we can avert another similar tragedy. I mean, this should be a warning lesson, if you think the guy is crazy, you think he had an agenda, either way, there were warning signs that were posted publicly. We haven't heard from his family yet, but just the limited amount of social media, this guy was asking for help. Mm-hmm. And we as a community, American community, I can go to the hometown that he lived in, the block that he lived on, his family, his friends, the rest of the Black community. Where were they? Nation of Islam, You teach your people to be productive members of society. He said he was a member of the Nation of Islam. He suddenly found himself not being productive when he was used to being stellar. That opens him up to not only to mental illnesses, but manipulation as well. And I'm the first one to sit up there and say, after all these years, I do not believe that Malcolm X was shot in a room full of Black people by 5 black people, and can't nobody describe who they were. So understand there are people in our community that can get bought and sold. Maybe he had some kind of agenda, but I do not believe the fact that he was worried about the national debt and he carried a knife instead of a gun. So there's no outcries about this shows we need to limit gun control. None of those issues.
So let's continue on with that. So let's get at that. In looking at everything that is so far taking place with what's going on with the doggone stuff. Oh my goodness. They want me to subscribe to the the Washington Post. Y'all always want me to subscribe. I'm not going to give y'all more money. Y'all can kiss my butt on that one. Now, let me go ahead and get to it on the stuff y'all have going on here, because we already see that right now the talk of the town is the Nation of Islam. Are they pushing out their control for are they pushing out their control for, I guess, terrorists? Again, and like I said, I do welcome people that have some type of view to come. Like, you're here with professionals. You're here with professionals. You have a military professional, you have a mental health professional, and you have a law degree professional. I don't get y'all. When y'all finally have professionals rather than people who have to guesstimate or go on opinion, we're literally giving y'all straight up stuff from what we see in court, what we see behind closed doors, and I'm giving you honestly military experience as well as security. I cannot sugarcoat anything going on. We're also joined here with a guest, Carolyn. Definitely welcome to the panel. Now, y'all, I don't want to see y'all have any kind of little behind closed door panel talk, but I'm gonna be right there in y'all chat and be like, where was all that for y'all to come up here and have the discussion with me? So let me go ahead and get this out of the way, because I gotta get this out. I gotta definitely put all this stuff. Michelle be dropping me so much doggone info. It's not even funny. I love her for it, but she definitely spoils me.
Hey BMT, I dropped in the back chat the Johns Hopkins info from February of this year about the current stats and numbers with mental health, the suicide rates, and all that good stuff in there. But
I love you for that. Thank you.
That's something I was looking at before too, was the fact that the job crisis alone caused 30,000 deaths since last year and this year. Just that one instance, basically, of people losing their insurance, people losing their ability to see their doctors. A lot of people doing mental health stuff would go weekly. Other people had to do bi-weekly. Other people would do monthly. Sometimes you would go every couple months. But a lot of that changed, certainly with the scope of having to go and do face-to-face. You know, the teleservices was not working for a lot of people, certainly in the early days.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people don't think about, I guess, or tend to forget about, because it's just not in our face, the fact that a lot of these athletes that are out here that have had mental changes and changes in their personalities from having head injuries. I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember the pro wrestler Chris Benoit. Now, whatever history he may have had, that actually, a lot of the head injuries and things like that do cause a lot of these athletes.
He killed his family.
Entire family.
Yep, killed his entire family and killed himself. And I think that's when wrestling changed up on taking more notice with their actors and their concussions, because they found out he had severe trauma to his brain. Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, football players. It's been out there for a good number of years that, the doctors have been basically told, certainly with the pro athletes and things like that, to push off, treat however they could, do what have you with these players. And, decades go by and they start having all of these health issues. Now, certainly this was a young man,
Mhm.
And, there's a lot of things that go into play, but at least to me, it sounds like, at such a young age, there was quite a bit of mental illness at play, on top
Now,
of insecurity about the future.
now let's
That's even at, would you say he's 25?
he's 25. I think the thing about it, one of the
Yeah,
things
even
about
at
it.
25, a lot of
Mhm.
young. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I wanted to bring this up here because a lot of people. I want you to understand this. Who do y'all think was mainly out there screaming and hollering and freaking out during COVID? Was it the older people or was it the younger people?
A lot of the young people, a lot of the
Yeah.
older people basically, understood what it was like to go day to day without all the social medias and all this other stuff. And I mean, we knew how to pick up a phone and actually talk to each other. Those of us that are
Mhm.
old enough to remember, you know, when it was like to get on the phone and call your besties and sit and talk for hours and hours. That's nothing new for us, but these kids, they're in a different scope. These young people are in a different scope. And that was one of the biggest things that people, certainly those of us with health issues, whether regular health issues or mental health issues, know off of the jump that it's our job as people that have these kinds of problems and deal with this stuff day to day to reach out and check in with your community, your family, your friends. Because sometimes it's only that one phone call that helps somebody unburden themselves.
And so one of the things about it that I want to bring, and we're going to be looking into about the Noah Green is, like I said, with a lot of people, I know people saying that, hey, you know what I'm saying, um, listen, the reason why I know some people saying, well, the NOI probably had him go do it. Well, that's like, honestly, then that would be fair enough to say, well, the Christian church had a lot of people go shoot up or do some. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be hard when you start. If you can easily say the NOI, make sure you take that same rubber band and pop it back at yourself whenever a Christian does something crazy. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
believe
Like,
me, I get what you're saying, and
right.
let me adjust my little crown here for a minute.
Mm-hmm,
There's programming out there to trigger just about anybody.
mm-hmm.
Just so people know. Go ahead, Bian.
So this is why I'm not so quick to blame. Listen, I can tell you right now. Let me say it like this. Okay. I could be sitting inside of the church. Pastor Carolyn giving a speech about something, a group of people, a certain system, certain way of the world, and everything like that. And I could be feeling it and saying, yeah, they're the reason why this is happening. Now, in my mind, with everything going on, rather than me, this is why I always express to y'all, get help, get help. Listen, man, mental health intakes are free. They are free, dang it. You can go to a welfare department and literally a family practice, literally, and just say, hey, I need help. I'm feeling I'm feeling a certain type of way. They're gonna ask you, do you feel like you are in harm or you're gonna harm yourself? I believe Miss Nikki can even tell y'all, listen, nobody's playing around when you say that stuff. If you go walk up in front of
the fire department or any type of professional like firefighter or EMS, you say, I feel like I'm going to harm myself or somebody else. If you say that, allegedly, I'm not saying I feel like that, but if you say that aloud, they, by law, are supposed to
Will
act.
take you in. They will take you to get
right.
seen and get help to the
Right.
nearest facility.
Nobody's gonna be like, oh, right. They're not gonna be like, oh, well, have a good day. Best of luck to you. Better good things not on my watch. No, they're going to take you to go get you some doggone help. You know what I'm saying? So understand, we can't pretend like this is not something real, because we've been seeing different people have individually having mental breakdowns. We just had a guy who literally had a mental breakdown and blamed illegals in New Mexico and started trying to kill them. All at Walmart. We can't pretend like these mental breakdowns and then people have a shock of attacking people. So, mind you, these mental health things are real. The problem is we don't take it seriously. We don't take it seriously enough, and it's not properly addressed as it should be. It's not attacked like it should be.
And so it's the stigma. By and large, it's the stigma that people carry with being attributed to having a mental illness. Quite simply, it's no different than having having something wrong with your blood levels or having something wrong with your heart. It's a condition. It's a medical condition.
Now, Nichelle had brought up. Nichelle.
Yes.
I'm your client. They brought you before. They said, listen, you got a crazy one on your hand, Nichelle. This guy, BMT, he's hearing voices telling him that he has to get rid of these purple people in dresses that are, because of them, they're the reason why the stock market is crashing. Is that not something that could end up in court that you have seen or has happened, where people literally, y'all know as legal terms that, hey, y'all know that they're mentally not there, but they're getting treated as they're just a criminal?
All the time. I mean, there are two different levels of competency. There's a McLaughlin test that says, did you know what you were doing when you did it? Did you know that it was wrong? Did you understand the totality of the circumstance? Then there's the irresistible impulse defense. Oh, sorry. There's the whole irresistible impulse test. That's in the minority of tests. Most states want to look at whether or not you have an actual disease that caused your cognitive abilities to be impaired so that you could not tell wrong from right. So if you have schizophrenia and you are literally seeing aliens instead of your parents, and you believe you are under attack by these beasts, aliens or whatnot, your ocular nerve is actually impaired. Then there's the whole idea of, when you get ready to go to trial, are you sane enough or are you cognitive enough to participate in your own defense? A lot of people suffer such post-traumatic distress disorder from an event that they are not mentally able to help in their defense. So there are a variety of mental illnesses lawyers have to deal with, both on the civil and criminal side. But what we're seeing now with COVID, we're seeing that 49% of the people surveyed, plus or minus. So when I see 49%, I think it's the majority of people, some of them are just not honest, are being affected by COVID. You're having friends and family die, and you're helpless. You're having friends and family get ill. They have to isolate themselves. You have to isolate yourself from them. I mean, just going to the grocery store. I mean, hey, I'm one of the baddest bitches around, but I feel like a ninja bunny when I'm going to the store, because you never know who's going to try to cough on you. You never know who's sick. And I live in a state where I'm in Texas, where people say, "My right, that governor can't tell me to wear a mask, but y'all better comply when that officer tells you to put your face down on that hot cement." Okay, that's the place that I live in. So I'm not being critical, I'm just being honest. That the mental illnesses that I literally sit up there and listen to my Caucasian friends say how depressed they were that they could not go get their hair done at the salon. While not realizing when I walk into a salon, I have to ask them, is black hair welcomed here? Will you do my hair here as a black woman? Knowing that 90% of the places will tell me no. We don't do black hair here. Okay, go somewhere else.
So now let me say, let's pull out this right here, and we're going to be pulling out the stuff. Like I said, we're going to be covering over stuff as best we can. Looking at the stuff. Um, for a time, he wrote that the Nation of Islam teachings helped him graduate with distinction, earn a well-paying job straight out of college, and pursue my graduate degree. Despite not growing up in the best circumstances, my ultimate goal was to learn business. He said that he wanted to improve the communities of the black and brown in the United States. However, he wrote that he was no longer on that path, saying, "The path has been thwarted as Allah, God, has chosen me for things. Throughout life, I have set goals, attained them, set higher ones, and then been required to sacrifice those things." The post was on March 7th. Oh, yeah. So we're looking at somebody. This is why I'm saying, like, and I'm y'all ladies, y'all let me know if I'm off. I'm not trying to bang. Y'all can't tell me this guy wasn't mentally off at some point. There's no way you're going to go to graduate school. You're going to be at the top. You got your business. You're getting your business degree and all that excess shit. You're a handsome young man. You got a lot of stuff. Like, y'all, it's like, it wasn't like he was some bozo. You know what I'm saying? Like, the man was beating the odds. People don't just start being. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no way you get to the top of the mountain and you succeed, and then you say, "Okay, I get it. 2020 just happened. Everything's happening bad to me. What do I got to lose?" And so now you're on a path of now it's looking at, I guess they're breaking down the Nation of Islam, the Southern Poverty Law. I guess the Nation of Islam, a hate group. So this is very interesting. So we're now called. So now it's looked at as, I guess, the Nation of Islam is being looked at as a hate group, which some people are looking at it as that it could possibly be looked at as called. Britannica calls Muhammad the leader of the Black separatist religious movement, known as an NOI or Nation of Islam, sometimes called Black Muslims. In the United States, Farrakhan is a Nation of Islam leader, noted for his Black separatist teachings and anti-Semitic comments. The Southern Poverty Law Center considers the Nation of Islam a hate group, writing that it considers white devils, indicating since its founding in 1930, the Nation of Islam, the NOI, has grown into one of the wealthiest and best known organizations in the Black America. Its theology of intimate black superiority over whites and deeply racist, anti-Semitic, and anti-LGBT rhetoric of its leaders have earned the NOI a prominent position in the ranks of organized hate. The Facebook polls reviewed, yes, but we all know the NOI is vastly, a lot of their stuff is vastly been banned from Facebook. Correct, Michelle? I think a lot of their stuff has been banned from Facebook. I gotta let you know, some of the stuff is a little bit off because Louis Farrakhan has been to quite a few white areas, like predominantly white areas. Um, that's why I said like some of the stuff y'all have to go study for yourself. Like I'm not saying I know everything about the NOI. I'm not in it like that. I wish I had somebody who was more so in it, but yeah, they do talk about black separatists. That is your right. If you want to separate, separate. Don't worry about me, BMP. I don't plan on separating. I ain't going nowhere. I fought for this country. I ain't going a goddamn nowhere. So, the suspect, that I guess that the officer that was killed was this white officer right here. He died. Um, the slain officer was named by the Capitol was an 18-year veteran, William Billy Evans. Read in the tribute before him. We do apologize. I'm sorry that he lost his life. Because like I said, he was just doing his job. He probably didn't have like, dang, I got 2 more years and I can retire from this. Probably he probably told himself, like, I got 2 more years, I'm out. I beat COVID. I only got 2 more years to go. So, pretty much the suspect of the Capitol Police incident is a 25-year-old Indian man named Noah Green. Indiana. Okay, Indiana man named Noah Green may have lived in Virginia. On his Facebook page, his note of he was a follower of the Nation of Islam. Pretty much, MSNBC Jesse Rodriguez wrote that on Twitter. MSNBC that reported that it had confirmed the page was Green and Heavy has also identified the Facebook page. Heavy saved photos from it before it was deleted. So I'm questioning. I'm curious about who deleted the page. And this is his manifesto. That he had. I'm going to see if I can read that. Let's see if I can read that. God dang, my eyes are going to hurt after this. These friends, families, enemies, and the like. Wow. Okay, so the fact that he said peace, friends, family, enemies, and the like, I want to give everyone an update as promised. To be honest, these past few years have been tough, and these past few months have been tougher. I have been tried in some of the biggest unimaginable tests in my life. I am currently now unemployed after I left my job, partially due to the afflictions, but ultimately in search of a spiritual journey. Listen, I'm just gonna let you know, if I already read that first paragraph, I would have called him. Listen, I'm just telling y'all right now. Jay will tell you right now. Let y'all put some crazy shit in y'all on a post and let me see it. I'm gonna call you and blow up your phone. Nichelle will tell you I will call her. I have called Carol. Listen. People were calling me when I was blind like a bat in my bed. Like, they were like, yo, we got to call and find BMT, see if he's okay. Like, y'all don't, whether it's April Fool's or not, you got to take people serious these days. Like, when somebody says, I feel like I could just die. I'm just, no. People jokingly say stuff like that, but I'm telling you right now, people say stuff like that, but you gotta ask them, are you good? What's going on with your life? I have no problem asking the show, how are you feeling, dear? You're beautiful. Y'all don't know what's going on through a man or woman's mind or a child's mind. I know I'm hard on some of y'all, but I truly do believe y'all are beautiful, smart individual people. Everything can't be healed with just prayer alone. I know. Mama, you will call me later on, but I'm sorry. Stop. God put medical people on this earth to do a damn job. So if you have a professional, put them to work. They took an oath. I have no problem. Thank you, Pastor, but I'm still going to the goddamn doctor. So I'm sorry. If Nikki's there and I can contact her, I'm gonna contact her. If Nichelle is there and I need some legal help, I'm gonna call her. If Carol's there and I don't understand, like, remember, mind you, when my mouth was bleeding, Carol was telling me everything step by step what I needed to do. This is the problem. We don't use our professionals enough. Y'all, we're so quick to repost and thumbs it up and like it, but we don't act on it. I swear on everything. I haven't had much to lean on in the past few months. I've been faced with fear, hunger, loss of wealth, diminution of fruit. My faith is one of the only things that has been able to carry me through these times. And my faith is centered on the belief of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as Jesus. Listen, y'all, stop putting your faith in man. Man is not a God. Man is flawed. That's no shot at Farrakhan, but Farrakhan is a man. He's a man. He bleeds, he shits, he'll die, just like every other man. Okay, so I'm just letting y'all know that. The final divine reminder in our midst. I consider him my only spiritual father. Wow. Without his guidance, his word, and his teachings that I've picked up and on along the way, I would have been unable to continue. So I wanted to give it a personal testimony for the man who's accomplished such a great mission for the liberation of us all under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, brought forth by Allah in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad. All right, ladies, how do y'all want to take at that? I'm just gonna ask y'all, how do y'all want to take at that? Because listen, I'm God dang, I'm not about to read this whole manifesto. I don't like suicidal notes as it is. This man had this is a manifesto to die. Y'all can't tell me different. I read enough dead men's letters over my time. This is the dead man's letter. If anybody can't figure that out, then shit. You probably need to sit with me on a one-on-one. You probably need to sit with me on a one-on-one. I got you, Nichelle, and I got. I see Nikki's down there. I can grab her back.
She said she was having connection issues.
Okay, okay, but that's a dead man's letter. What do you think? What do you think about it?
Log on too.
Okay. Like I said, hey, let's send them all. Send them all up here. I am willing to sit down and talk with any and everyone. I can, if I have to, I can put it in the Facebook chat. Like I said, y'all can grab the link. But what do you feel about what I just read to you so far? Some people are saying that was some kind of setup by the NOI. I'm sorry, y'all. Reading that right there, I'm banking on hardcore. That young man, that boy is what he was going to kill himself. Whether he did it at the Capitol or wherever he did it, he was going to kill himself.
I understand that. I'm not arguing the point that the man was mentally disturbed. My biggest inquiry, conspiracy queen, do you understand what I mean? Is most people who have
I sure do.
They have a reason. They have a reason why they are doing. This is my final statement. I'm making my final statement. I want the world to recognize what I'm talking about. And if I have to die for you to read my manifesto. But in that manifesto, what the heck was he talking about other than he liked the Nation of Islam? I'm not trying to be funny. Maybe I'm missing something. He killed one man. He got out of the car and made aggressive gestures that most people would have known were going to get him killed. Not taken into custody so he could explain himself. So Joe
honestly, from my take, it sounds like he was trying to go out with faith. Unfortunately, it seems like he was trying to go out on his terms versus potentially starving to death or succumbing to his illness or potentially dying from COVID.
I mean, I want people. I'm serious. I'm not trying to find. I don't know if the man got kids or not. I'm sure he has a mother and a father, but I'd be watching his family to see if they got to pay off his medical bills.
The
Because
question,
there is a
Michelle, what was he afflicted with? That's the thing. Nobody asked. What was he afflicted with? That, like, damn, like, what were you afflicted with that fucked you up? That, see, when you're an athlete, there's only so many afflictions that can get that they like. I know if you have HIV, they ain't allowing you to play sports no more. If you have HIV, they don't allow you to play sports. I'm not saying allegedly. I'm not saying he had that. I'm just saying they said he had some medical issues going on. So I want you to understand and that happens a lot in college. That happens a lot in college. So what had happened to him? What happened to him to make him, first of all, go hardcore religion? That's the first question I'm going to ask. Because people just don't wake up.
okay. Do you guys remember the famous play Death of a Salesman?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Death of a Salesman. You're talking about a young man who's dying or ill. I don't know how ill he was, but obviously he was ill. He lost his job because of it. He blames the illness for losing his job. I don't know how much his medical bills had stacked up, but it's not uncommon. That's why I keep saying manipulation. It's not uncommon for someone who realizes the medical bills are beyond they're dying, the medical bills are beyond them. As in Death of a Salesman, he took his own life.
Yes, he did.
But in this case, this man did death by cop. We can't argue that the cops didn't kill him. So I'd love to see the insurance policy that didn't pay out, even though we could argue. I mean, they're going to argue about it. Don't get me wrong.
Or the loopholes that allow for Social Security and disability to continue to deny people that apply.
Oh, honey,
as a way to weed people out.
I had 3 strokes. 3 strokes. One right December 28th, 2017. January 2018. Then I had another stroke, June, all clearly documented strokes. Do you realize that I had a 9-month delay from the February stroke because they wanted to make sure I was going to live? The woman honestly told me that they had a waiting period for people who had strokes.
Yeah, because on the paperwork it says that you have a condition that can result in your death, right on that paperwork.
I can also attest to that because a lot of veterans, y'all can look this up, a lot of veterans, this is why they had a big issue with the VA, weren't getting their compensation pay or getting treatment because the system took so long to kick in. Hell, it still takes its time now. So some veterans felt like they were more of a burden on their family being alive. So they chose to die. I can't make this shit up. They felt like because I'm mentally crippled or decrepit, I'd rather just take myself out, put an insurance policy on me, and take myself out. And that's what some people did. There was a catalyst that have triggered that
And I'm saying this that me and Michelle talked about. The African American community sucks at catching mental health issues.
Not only that, but a lot of the younger generation is more depressed than any of its predecessors.
We do. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, but listen, it was more so easy to call it a demon, which I'm not saying there ain't nothing, they ain't out there. I'm just saying we are just we could have saved Noah. There are people who have mental health issues and could be helped and saved if we put down them damn cell phones and actually just. Michelle, you good? Yeah. Come on. Let's go for a ride. Let's get some sun. Put on your mask. We'll go get some sun. Put on your sandals. Nah, I'm good. No, come on. Me and Carol came to pick you up. Sometimes it don't hurt. Like, y'all, we suck at this. Like, y'all gonna understand, man. Like, y'all, there's been plenty of people who have not gotten their meds. There have been plenty of people that literally refuse to say that they are struggling. Pride is a big thing. It's literally afraid to admit that you are weak. There's no wrong in saying that you're weak. There's no harm in saying that, hey, I just can't do it. You're not a weak man. And I mean, understand this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I felt like this guy could have probably got help. You know, a lot of people feel some way other differently, but no. He could have probably got the help he needed. I know some of y'all want to say, well, this is an Antifa thing. Nah. I can't get a whiff of Antifa on this one. Where's the connection? Where's the connection to this guy? It's not like, I mean, somebody would have been able to pull up on his post. Conspiracy Queen would have told you that somebody would have put up a post of him talking about all kind of stuff or at pep rallies and stuff. This guy was going to college and trying to get business and stuff done. Something had triggered with him to have set him off. There we go. I got you, Nikki. Something had triggered with him. And when it comes to mental health, we don't really get it handled as we should. It's more so. I remember I hated telling people about my mental health issues because how I got treated like a person with leprosy. I'm not afraid to talk about that now. I feel like there's strength in me talking about it because that lets other people know you can go get help too. If you don't want to go by yourself, I'll go there with you. I'll go wait in the lobby or go sit in the car, but I will take you there. So that way, you know what I'm saying? We can still do prayer, but I rather know y'all can't tell me. And like I said, I hope Nikki got her connection going. Y'all can't tell me that mental health has not shot up, that from all the way, not just people like Noah, but majority of America has not have caught some kind of mental health postpartum depression since COVID. Because our lives are not the same. You're not going to tell me us walking around looking like Mortal Kombat characters now. Like we're all normal anymore.
I mean, you also have to deal with the fact that there are some people, I mean, honestly, I keep looking at the numbers. I mean, we're still 800, 900 people dying per day. It's kind of like I can't go into cognitive dissonance and say COVID just went away. Although I did get caught up in May of last year that my bestie came down for my girl's 19th birthday and my youngest daughter's high school graduation. And it was like the people in Texas said, COVID doesn't exist anymore. So we went to the mall, we went to the salons, we went out to eat, we went to the bars. And I craved that. She came back in February, we did it again. I understand people crave interaction with other people.
Most definitely. We're human beings. We're social creatures. Even the antisocial ones of us are still social creatures. And as a species, we thrive on our communities. We thrive on interactions with others. We thrive on human touch. And one of the biggest things that this whole cataclysm, and that's what I kind of look at it as, is it's a cataclysm. It's a, societal cataclysm, it's a mental cataclysm, and it's a health cataclysm.
And it's
taken away a lot of that from us.
And let's be honest, because I don't know about anybody else, but I've gotten those calls from ex-boyfriends. Hey, I know that you're the kind of person that'll stay safe. And yes, I am the kind of person that's going to stay safe. So I was wondering if you would come over and want to spend time, watch TV. No, that's why I'm the kind of person that'll stay safe, because I don't know where you've been. I don't live with you. So if this young man was single, studies have shown that men need not just physical, not just human contact, they need sex more than women do. It's just the testosterone. Testosterone is something that needs to be released. Estrogen is not. So imagine being a 25-year-old man that is afraid of COVID, but at the same time wanting to deal with your natural urges of copulation and the fear of being intimate with a person outside of your household might lead to your demise. That has to be real. I'm not trying to be funny. I just had a friend, her husband died of COVID. And because she caught COVID taking care of him, she was able to be at the hospital with him when he died. Could you imagine that the only reason she was able to be at the hospital with her husband? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can you imagine being a woman that the only reason you're able to be at the hospital with your husband as he dies of COVID is because you caught COVID from him?
Or your mother that you were caring for, or your child.
Oh no, yeah. I got stories to tell. I got a story of my girlfriend. Her husband went to take care of his 80-year-old father. Single man, parents divorced. His mother actually lives here in Dallas. He went up to Chicago to take care of his father. His father was not sick enough to be admitted to the hospital, but his father died at home of COVID. He came home and gave COVID to his wife. This was in October. When I talked to her in January, she still could not taste. She was very angry, frustrated. She understood her husband's desire to take care of his father. But the fact that he came home and gave it to her and could have given it to their child. People are angry. They're scared. And so there's one side of the country that says there's nothing to be worried about. There's the other side of the country that goes, I could be that 1%. I'm scared. As someone with lupus who survived 3 strokes, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, I died of an autoimmune lung disease before I admit that I died of COVID. but I do have friends that have died of COVID that their spouses put they died of an autoimmune induced lung disease rather than say COVID. So we have to understand this is strange new times. And as Americans, we need to be there for our friends. This could have been avoided. He may have still killed himself, but he might not have killed a worker, a government worker, and injured another if people had caught the signs. Does that make sense? Based on his manifesto, which doesn't make any sense to me, but again, I'm not saying this man was not suffering from mental illnesses, but what resources are available for people like him so that he doesn't have to take it out on the government? Why everybody get quiet when I say what resources are available? Joe?
I know in most cases there's some sort of campus outreach groups and things like that. I mean, that's right off the get-go. I think he already stated, BMT already said, there's the free intakes at a lot of these clinics that are out there, the mental health clinics, which is going to vary from state to state. But there are support groups.
I agree with support groups. But I'm a cynic. I know you're conspiracy, but from my experience, when you're looking for help, I work the suicide lines. And the one thing that I was in college, the one thing they taught us, if a person can pick up the phone and call and say, I'm thinking about committing suicide, they're at that point where you can save them because they want to make a decision.
Yeah.
You can guide them in their decision. So
absolutely, and God love you for that, Nichelle, because that's not easy. People burn out on that and not the 911 calls and stuff like that real quick.
The suicide prevention hotline, Joe, we need to make sure we get that number up there, suicide prevention, because however we want to look at this man committed suicide by cop. I mean, and we might see more of it. That's why I'm really, really concerned, because we've got two levels. We got cops on a heightened alert that are ready to shoot first and ask questions later. You have a lot of depressed people out there. So doesn't that sound like a boiler keg to you?
It sure does. And at least looking at the statistics from the Johns Hopkins study, it basically said that right off the get-go that 51% of the suicides were by firearms. And then it went into other numbers from there. And that's definitely something to talk about because, maybe, and I hate to put myself into this category, but at the same time, it bears discussing. In an instance where people are literally buying up everything that they can at this point because they're trying to de-arm the population, can we fairly make the argument that it could be to prevent more of these instances from happening, from more suicide by gunshots from happening?
I mean, it is a crazy thing. I mean, think about what we just said. He did suicide by cop. If you can't get a hold of a gun yourself and you really want to kill yourself, just run up on a cop with a knife.
That's right.
It's obvious at this point in time that sitting up there saying, okay, if we want to prevent people from killing themselves by shooting themselves with a gun, if we limit the amount of guns that they have, we'll limit the amount of people that can kill themselves. But you won't limit the number of people that get killed by cops.
That's very true. But my question from that would be, where were all of his own support systems, his personal support systems, the church groups, his family, the people he had close to him in his life, even if his family didn't live near him and he was a out-of-state schooler? You
I
know,
mean, it already becomes obvious he was focused on internet church. He was not doesn't he wasn't quoting a local pastor. He was quoting a pastor up in Chicago. So as far as local, perhaps it was because of COVID that isolationism had set in, but he reached out to people over the internet. And it doesn't seem like after he reached out and said all the things that he said, it doesn't seem like there were local groups that were actively looking for people that they could help. They were more willing to just say, hi, advertising, we're here, word of mouth. If you want us, we're here. Is that the most effective thing for our society? Because they're getting grants.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because, you know, it goes into, you have to have a proper function of that support group for them to be able to look out. Because I know people that do this stuff, that will actively search for you, for your area, for different doctors that are out there, for clinics that are open, for urgent cares that are open, fire departments, EMS departments, it doesn't matter.
I think we have to think about that in the age of COVID, because this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Whether we like it or not, it's not going anywhere soon. We've given out.
That's right. We're already 365 days past our first 2-week lockdown.
Yes. We're at the point in which I think we're at 60 million people have gotten both doses. And we're running low on the doses. The doses don't necessarily keep you from getting COVID, but they are supposed to minimize the impact of COVID if you do get COVID.
There was a woman during there was a woman when I went to the VA, you know, but I wanted to go do, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, the shot and everything, and you know, I'm looking at doing a live of me going there. And the woman started to hyperventilate and start to freak out. This is like I want you to understand the COVID facility is separate from the VA. And the woman started to hyperventilate and she was having, you know, a panic attack. Now we're already at the facility, but she started freaking out that much because of watching people get treated. Now, mind you, when you get treated, they take you into a whole nother facility far away from the population to treat you. They have to, because they got isolated. And so they're getting pretty fast at isolating and doing it. And the woman was screaming, you know, as she was laying down on the pavement, you know, I just want things to go back. I just want things to go back. And I just want things to go back. And the nurse was like, it's not going back, baby. Like, things aren't going back. I know y'all like to say we're going to wake up and everything, but it's not. Let me see if we got it.
Unfortunately, I don't. I know it's not going back.
It might one day, Conspiracy Queen, we'll wake up and this will all be a dream. Nikki, are you there? I think I saw her on mute. But
yeah, I'm here.
Listen, if you have stuff in the background, we don't care anymore. We just want our Nikki Cochran. We want our Nikki Cochran here. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I've been listening to the stuff that you guys have been saying, and you know, it's hard to know what happened with him. It's, you know, he puts stuff out there. You know, it's hard to know if anybody reached out to him.
I was doing
maybe
some
not on his
research
page.
earlier today.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I mean, yes, we can. He
Yeah,
clearly
I
had
was.
some, issues, but I don't know. And there's lots of things, or people or services that might have been able to intervene, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't know also
I
who
was doing
has
some research
tried.
earlier today.
Uh-huh.
Another.
No, what were you gonna say?
Now,
I think regardless, it's
mhm.
tragic on all ends,
Right.
and
Why?
the system is imperfect as far as being able to help people in the moment of crises. Um, regardless of how willing or unwilling they are to accept it. So yeah, we have to, as a system, as a country, do better with those who are clearly having trouble coping and are
Nothing.
you
I
know
was going to say nothing. Keep going.
no oh I'm just it's incredibly. I mean, I
You
wish I
have the
had a good
floor, Nick.
answer. I wish I had a good answer on what would happen. I also don't know how much someone might have reached out to him and he didn't realize that what he was saying was reckless and harmful. But to do stuff to save him. So I don't know. I feel like I'm coming in with like no new answers or no good responses to how we could have prevented this, other than maybe he was more isolated and sort of posting things on Facebook but not talking directly to people,
Right.
which may have been more helpful. And
But
as
ask a
much as we
question.
can do safety checks,
Nikki,
with
can I ask you a question?
uh-huh yeah.
Go ahead, Michelle. What's the
Nikki,
question?
can I ask you a question
Yeah.
about
Yep.
people who are schizophrenic or
Yeah.
in psychosis?
Schizophrenic or what, or or
Psychosis.
psychotic.
Yeah.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
No, I have a question.
Okay,
What's the question, Michelle?
I'm listening.
I think Michelle, back out and come right back in if your audio's off.
Yeah, I think she's
I
losing
want to ask.
connection.
Yeah. I want the thing about it. I want to ask. The thing about it. I want to bring to you, and thank you for being here, Nikki.
Okay,
Best believe we
Nikki.
definitely.
I mean, when it
Okay.
comes to
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I think
I'm
she's
listening.
not.
Is she
Her
losing
audio
her
is going
signal
in
too?
and out. Yeah, her audio is going in and out and dropping.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dropping. This is just one of those things. Yeah.
Who
Michelle,
did
just
you
come
make
back.
mad on YouTube, BMT?
Listen, the whole slew of people. Like that's just my life.
Sounds
Now,
like the
one of the
algorithm's messing with you.
listen, you gotta understand when you talk about the nation's capital, like they get very sensitive because it's like literally. Hopefully, they don't say something that's bad propaganda. But one of the things about it, I want to ask Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
is why is mental health taken serious now, or is it still looked at as a fluke, like something that? But it seems like when stuff like I think people always write their dear letters on social media now or stuff like that. Are people taking it more serious, or they're like, like I'm okay, I'm good. I'll just I'll put a video on TikTok or something like that, but not actually go get the help or that no or like we gotten better with mental health recently. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think in some ways we've oh, I don't know. I think so.
You're free to like, but we want to know
I mean,
because
unless there's like a group that's sort of crusading and sort of trolling the internet and all the social media stuff to see people who are saying things that might put them or other people at risk, and responding to those sort of overt threats to harm others. Um, but I think in a lot of ways that mental health is still downplayed. Even though more people are distressed, more people are stressed, more people are having trouble coping and are angry and are acting and I mean, mental illness is real, and not something that is just, can, sort of like, oh, take a nap, or, oh, do something, uh, think about something else. I mean, it's not that easy to sort of turn that off, especially when there's real issues. So I think in a lot of ways it isn't taken as seriously, unless someone ups the ante and is, overtly, obvious about, like, I'm going to go out and do this ahead of time. And at those times, I think it might be, something else is sort of in the algorithms or tricks so that someone maybe can be helpful. But
Right.
I think that it's still sort of downplayed, and it's just like, oh, this is the way that people express themselves and are, they're just sort of venting, or they're just, spewing, and it isn't taken as seriously. At the same time, there are people, some of it, it's all about timing. It's, if someone sees it, who knows, who, like, maybe who knew Noah, or, is aware of sort of what he's been struggling with and can reach out personally to him, maybe, directly, that might have been more effective than someone responding in his comments, when he posts something. So I think it's, I don't know, I want to say I think it's both, but as a, that, there's more of this happening, and I think that there's not as many resources, for that are out there that can be immediately helpful to people without, some direct, contact.
Okay, so I have a confession. Okay. I have tried to commit suicide twice in my life. The first time was when I had lost my friend in overseas, and I just started becoming real reckless with my life. I just said, you know what, the hell with it. Like, God don't give a shit. Like, we're losing people anyway. And I just was ready to opt out. I was done. I was tired.
And what did you
And
do?
I pretty much just went about and actually was just going to I was putting myself in reckless situations that could have possibly have gotten fellow soldiers killed as well as myself. I didn't
Mhm.
care. I was just very reckless. Like they knew, like command knew I had a death
And what
wish.
helped you? I mean, what had you stop, or what had you shift?
Um, Therapy. I had a damn good little little 5 foot therapist, a damn good therapist. And she refused to give up. The second one, the second time, it was literally it was a kid. Um, I knew we didn't have to kill that kid. And but it was a call I had to live with. And
Mhm.
I just after that night I just I took my M4 and I had put it in my mouth and I put one round in the chamber and I pulled the trigger. The round didn't go off. I don't believe in coincidences. Things happen for a reason. If that makes any sense.
It does.
Absolutely.
Like things just because I was confused. Like by the time they found me, like somebody saw, like what's crazy about it was somebody saw what was happening, but they didn't say anything. I guess they wanted to see how it was going to play out. And then they came in my room like an hour later and said, Johnson, did you just? And I was like, yeah. I was just sitting there playing Xbox. And from there, he was like, I can't beat you. I'm not going to try to beat you. can you just give me your rifle, please? And I did. Give me my rifle. I went with command. And then after that, they knew I had shell shock. If some people don't know what shell shock is, look it up. I can't do nothing for you. But yeah.
But there are
But
two things that were critical in both of those instances. One, you already had someone that you were working with, or at least told someone how you were feeling, so that they could sort of be on you visually and in the moment to ensure that you were safe.
right.
The second time, I mean, I can't explain like the waiting for an hour before someone comes if they thought that you were in distress, but you didn't. I mean, I don't know because you didn't say, but it sounds like you pulled the trigger once and then didn't do it again when it didn't work. So that in and of itself means that you wanted to be here, at least in that moment, to not do it again, to not chance your luck again that it would,
Right.
harm you. So there was a part of you internally that knew that you were at a point that you were desperate and that it was dire, but you also didn't want to die because you didn't do it again.
I agree.
Right? And then you had someone who intervened and said, I saw this, I mean, maybe a little after the fact, but not too much after the fact because you were still here, and said, I need to take this rifle. Will you give it to me? And then you said yes. So, but that's a physical in the moment. So there's two parts, and your inner desire to be here and be invested in the world, regardless how hard things are. And then secondly, there was a physical person in front of you that said, we need to, make sure that this doesn't happen. We need to make sure that you're okay or safe in this moment. So in both those instances, you had two different people who did that, but you also yourself did things that allowed for people to, that let them know that you needed, that things were, hard for you right now.
I get what you're saying.
And maybe,
I do.
I can't speak for Noah, but maybe separately, like he might have said out, he's doing these things that could be interpreted as, he's having a hard time. How dire is this is questionable, to an outsider. But he didn't have someone else to step in physically and say, hey, let me check in with you. What's going on? How can I be helpful? And that's hard to do with social media. I mean, you can put stuff out there and then there has to be something tangible that touches the person individually to ideally make a difference if they can't stop, do it themselves. Fortunate for you, you were able to tell somebody or do something or stop, before more harm came, so that someone could be able to come in and help you. Or, talk to the therapist that you had before, the first time, so that you have someone who knew what was going on with you so that they could also be helpful. But having that tangible person is vital.
Right. Right. Like I said, I wouldn't never speak on something, you guys, that I myself have not dealt with or don't believe. That's why I said I'm a huge component, like, of mental health. Like, it doesn't, like, we always believe that mental health, it looks like something like the person is looking crazy or something like that. Like, they can look normally fine, smile, operate right there in front of you. It could be like a normal thing. I don't care what y'all may think or how y'all may judge me. I don't care. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, it's real. Like, it's literally, it's something like it. You ponder at it like a festering pus, and then you start to say, you start trying to override yourself. Like, should I do it? Can I do it? Can I really overcome and make, like, you really start trying to hype yourself, like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. And you do reach out. Like, people do reach out because they Say, let me at least, hey guys, like what's going on? But you're afraid to tell people, so you hesitate. But it is a real thing. And when, we do have people, we do care. I believe the men and women on this panel, we do care. I never want people to feel like your voices are not being heard, that people do not care. It is not just something that only soldiers go through. Many men and women um, go through it. I believe a lot of people this day and age, men, mothers, fathers, grandparents, children, anybody can go through something that can cause them to slip over the edge. You know, and it's everybody's job to recognize the problem and identify with it and actually get it handled. I don't regret telling y'all these things because these things happen every day. Every day, somebody contemplates suicide. If I'm correct on saying that, Miss Nikki.
Yeah, I think it's also a testament to your strength and your fight for survival. You
Thank you.
know, and I mean, not to, I don't want to minimize what you've done, but what you've done is was huge. It was huge to talk about it now, but it's also, what you've been through and how you've been through it and how you fought to be present in this world right now is
Right.
incredible. So, you know, so if it, I don't know, I'm honored to be talking with you, and I'm glad that fought for you in a way that only you could, at least
You
initially,
know.
and that you were able to accept the help from people around you.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I want you to understand. I'm still in the battle. I still do therapy. I am,
Great.
like I said, I still do therapy. Just because somebody hits these curves in life does not mean that they cannot be a good person and that can do good things in life. There have been many people. I know women who go through postpartum depression. I want you to understand this, men. Women that go through postpartum depression, they have bumps in their life that they go through, and that there's a reason why. Hey, could you please take the baby? Sure, let them go outside, go take a break, go walk, go get their nails done. Something. I listen. I'm telling y'all, listen, y'all. I've been doing a lot of work and groundwork, pounding the pavement to understand myself as well as other people, and I want other people to understand. So we're also joined. So I definitely understand, Nikki. I definitely want to have you back on the panel to have the conversation because there's a lot of stuff about this and the Noah Green story um, about what's going on. We're also joined here by another honored guest. Hey, what's going on? You're on mute.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going, Letitia?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. How about you all? It sounds
We're
like
doing.
it's a great conversation going on if we talk about mental health, because that's definitely something we need to discuss and be able to identify in the Black community because we've ignored it for so many years and it's been practiced throughout our culture. The things of the past we have to actually correct. And when I say that, I mean the signs of mental health, the signs of mental stress as well. Those are things we have to continue to educate our folks on because it's been taboo for so many years. You would hear Black people don't see psychologists or Black people don't need no help like that. Those are white people issues. That was the miseducation of the Negro, as many things has been over the years. I think it's good to hear these kind of this dialogue going on because we have to start making people feel more comfortable about seeking help, about going out to therapists as well. And I tend to see in our communities, people think because they go to church and they talk to their pastors that those are options for mental health. I am not in agreement with that. I think that you have to go out and you have to search for the services that you need out here. And you have to be aware that they do exist. And for example, we're dealing with COVID-19 right now. If you think about all these kids out here, why don't nobody think about the fact that they are in the house isolated on a regular basis? And there's going to be consequences for that as also. And we have to be able to be prepared to address it. And when we start talking about our communities, see, I'm a believer that we have to start taking care of ourselves and stop trying to make everybody else responsible for us. These are issues we have to deal with. We have to be able to identify, and we have to have real talk conversations about as well.
Right.
That's just my, that's just, I'm an advocate. I've been out here a long time. I know, coming from a background of domestic violence and child abuse, I know the issues that women have dealt with, and not just women, men as well. Our young boys also. We've neglected them. We continue to neglect them. And if we don't think that they're dealing with stress when they have to worry about the communities that they live in, the harassment that they have to deal with, and the fact that this young man that was 25 years old, my first concern when I heard about this Noah Green was that I do not want them to start targeting our children again. I do not want that to happen because it happens too often, and we have such tunnel vision in our communities that is almost as sad. It's very sad to a certain degree. But we
Right.
have to be more aware. And like this conversation that we're having, we have to have these conversations, and we have to stop thinking and acting like, because, you know, what I'm seeing is that people feel as though when they are educated, that you have to stop belittling people, because the education is just an institutional degree, to be most truthful. That's all it is to a certain degree. But at the same time, do you ever think about this, BMT? Our people were slaves in this country that we built. Slaves. Look at what they dealt with. We are not dealing with anything compared with what they dealt with over the years in this country. They were the hardest working people you have ever known, because they worked hard. They did labor. They worked fields. Just think about the mental impact that it had on them as well. And if you don't think that what our history has anything to do with today, it has a lot to do with today. Where you come from dictates a lot to behavior, choices, and things of that nature as well. And that's just my piece of this puzzle right now, because these are great issues, and we have problems that we have to continue to address, and we have to stop teaching these children somebody else go save them. That's our responsibility as parents, adults, as grandmothers, to sit there and say we have a problem in our house, and don't be pushing it up under the rug. This is how we save our generations, because if you don't save them, you will be in the Smithsonian, black people.
Now, question about that. And thank you, because I see you coming in with fire, mamas. And like I said, we're all joined here. Listen, y'all. I want us to have this conversation. It's not the popular conversation because it's easy to put. It's easy to doggone throw a band-aid on it, slap it to Jesus, and let's move on. And I'm definitely always here for the conversation. I'm not the popular guy. I'm just the guy that literally likes having a conversation. And I definitely want to thank y'all for coming. I'm also being helped out by Carol, and I'm saying Nikki. She's already weighing in some stuff. And like I said, I'm definitely an open book. So I definitely want y'all to feel free to use my platform to the best of your abilities. Um, we have a lot. When I see Noah Green, right, let me go ahead and pull him up on this. Let me go ahead and pull him up. And I want to ask y'all honestly, with um, with y'all women on this panel, when it comes to dealing with young men, right? Have we gotten better with dealing with young men expressing themselves with mental health in the community? Have we gotten any better with getting these young boys or having these young boys learning how to be educated properly? But I know, see, the women don't have a problem expressing themselves. They don't. I would say a woman will go get mental help faster than a young man. I will give the women that much credit.
Well,
But the young men will see it as I don't want to be looked at as weak. I don't want to be seen as a bitch. I don't want them to think that I am not efficient. Have we, or maybe BMP, you might be wrong about this. Have we gotten better, or are we getting worse with this thing with mental health in our young men? How do y'all want to look at that?
well, I just read an article today, as a matter of fact, like a couple hours ago, that said that women are actually 1.5 times more likely to commit suicide than a man.
Mm. What say y'all? What y'all say about that? Ladies, do y'all think that the women are more likely to go seek the help than the men, or are the men they're doing fine handling these issues? Because we see where these men can have it all together, and I'm probably going to do a separate talk about these men that have it together and they're still having mental breakdowns. I'm seeing these men that they're having mental breakdowns with dealing with being able to handle the family dynamic, school, job, the cultural appropriations.
You remember me telling
Hell,
you that I just had a breakdown before I met you? That was
yes, you
what
did.
actually brought me to YouTube. Also, was I had a mental breakdown after being stuck at home, being a stay-at-home dad, doing nothing but wiping butts, making dinners, and cleaning house, and then on top of it, having to put my son through school myself and do their curriculum while someone else was getting paid for me to do their job. And it got to where I felt like I was absolutely useless, was doing nothing but being a drain on my wife and my household, and that I for real, I had a legit breakdown, and that's something that I don't do. Usually I will sit and hold everything inside and not let anybody see it. But that I literally broke down in front of my wife and my kids and said, I can't take this shit anymore.
I want to say, looking at if Noah, right? If Noah, mind you, in college, he was beating the odds. Beautiful man, highly educated, had a religious foundation. If he was having mental health problems, y'all please miss with the bullshit to tell me that men who have it lesser than him don't have nothing fucking with him. Y'all gonna have to miss me with that because I'm willing to. This stuff is real. When what Sister Latricia was just saying about a lot of people are internalizing and carrying generational trauma from that they've watched in the home, that they done seen in the family, that they done seen in the community. Money don't make these things go away. Prayer don't make these things just. I know. Listen. I done grown up shouting, doing X, Y, and D. I got the money. Y'all know my lifestyle. But I'm gonna tell you right now, and Trailer, me and him have had these conversations. Listen, Trailer will tell you, BMT, don't be afraid to call me, man.
Tell you that all the time, bro. My phone's always available to you, and so is my ear. Just tell me shut up and listen.
And listen, and like I said, I will tell you, and I do, and I listen. I don't even excuse. Like I know women, they have it going on too. The women On the other side, women have things going on too.
Yes, we do.
I know y'all like to think that them wearing their makeup, they living their best life. Hashtag, they out there walking the runways. They got Goldman and Sats and all this. Other. Listen, trust and believe. The problem didn't stop. I'm pretty sure Miss Nikki's phone has not stopped ringing. I'm pretty sure y'all don't see these people getting checked. I just came from the hospital. There was wheeling a man in there that literally he runs a boating company. The man took a doggone wrench, the thing from what I overheard, and put it and was sticking it into his eye. This is a man that makes $250,000 every four months out of the year. He makes that's actually making a quarter. Excuse me, every month. But we're in Charleston, so we got boating is big here. And if that man saw to put a drill into his eye and say, "I'm done," I don't want to hear nothing. I don't know what happened that made him just flip on that quick. That's why I don't laugh at no woman when she says I'm having a mental breakdown. I don't laugh at no child when they start, and I done watch these kids in school start bawling and crying and freaking out by getting in and out of school and all this stuff. Parents that be having mental breakdown, be ready. Y'all know how many kids already got them been beaten, abused and stuff. Do y'all know this April is child abuse prevention month? Did y'all know that?
Yes, it is. I'm an advocate for it. I've been doing it for decades, but I'm gonna chime in a little bit more because I'm gonna keep it real with you too.
Trust me, you gonna be good friends. You gonna
Oh,
be
I
real good
promise
friends.
you that, because I have an organization called Grandmas for the Generations,
What
and
was it called again?
Grandmas for the Generations Foundation is what my organization is.
Yeah, we
And what
found this
I
one here.
And what
Go
I
ahead.
found out, I have a lot of black men that we mentor. And what I'm finding is that a lot of times they just need somebody to talk to. They just need somebody to have a logical conversation with, to help them address real life issues. Because what I'm seeing is that they have not been taught how to deal with stress in this society. They have not been taught basic behaviors as well, how we're thinking, how we're behaving, how to address certain situations, which is basic life skills, to be honest. And they have hurt our communities. We have hurt our communities because we've not stood up enough. We know what's right and what's wrong. We
Oh,
know this.
preach, girl.
We do. We know this.
For
Our
real,
grandmama
preach.
told us this. I'm going to tell you something. If you go back again to history, history is what's going to teach you where the solutions are, and having a conversation with these children. These children need us more than they have ever needed us. And when adults stop focusing so much on themselves, out here, when you hear things, that's all you hear about is grown people talking about themselves. Most of us, if we're over 50 or 55 and we have children and grandchildren, our lives are at a halfway mark right now. This is the time we have to stand up and start identifying things. And to the man that said he was taking care of his children, what it makes it sound like to me is that the issue is that you have to know your own self-worth. The most important thing you can give to this world are those children. The love that you give them, they cannot find anywhere else. And that is a fact. So sometimes we have to sit down and evaluate ourselves in reference to where we're coming from. But to stand up and say, I need some help, them big girls and big boy decisions. That's what adults do. They say, I need help. And when you say you need help, guess what that says about to the children and the other folks around you? Guess what you're going to do? You're going to make them feel a lot better about themselves and saying, I need some help too. Can you help me? Because that's what being my sisters and my brothers keepers is truly about. We need to stop using so many acronyms and words and start being about life, is what we need to be about.
Right.
You know what? To be honest with you, my wife literally is my best friend, and she has saved me from myself on multiple occasions. Multiple occasions. There's been one time, look, I'm like BMT. There was one time after I lost my mom, I was going to kill myself. Well, I hadn't even lost her yet. What I was trying to do was avoid going and talking to my mom. I found out she was dying from cancer. And I went ahead and I had my yearly barbecue that I normally had every year. And this is the issue. I know my mom was dying for 9 months, and my wife got worried because I'd never talked about it. She would ask me how I was doing, and I just didn't have nothing to say. You know, you need to talk about anything. I wouldn't say anything to her. At the same time, I had my dad living with me, and my dad was constantly telling me for 9 months over and over and over again, you know, your mom's about ready to die, so you might as well just learn how to deal with it. You know, your mom's not going to be around much longer, so you might as well just learn how to accept it for what it is. You know, for 9 months, the man never told me anything about, hey, if you need to talk about it, you know, I'm here or anything like that. And mind you, this is the man that was married to the woman for 9 years. They'd been divorced for 30, but married to her for 9 years. And this is what he kept telling his son about his mom for 9 months. On top of the fact that his favorite thing to do with me was try to stress me out and start arguments with me. Even if he agreed with whatever it was I was talking about, he would purposefully, you know, go the other way and try and push back on me just to try and get a rise out of me. And with everything going on top of it, at the time, my wife was having heart issues where they had her on a heart monitor, you know, for like a month on end. And I thought that there was something seriously wrong with her. My son was only 2 months old, you know, so I was losing my wife or losing my mom. I didn't know if I was going to lose my wife. I had my dad constantly at me, and my wife she was worried. She told my dad several times to please just lay off of me because she thought that she was worried that I was going to snap and I was going to shoot myself. I never said anything about it, but she saw my personality and everything about me change. And it wasn't an overnight change. It was a gradual change that she saw. That night that I had that barbecue.
Hey, what's up, yo?
She, that night afterwards, the other problem too, I ain't gonna lie, because all that stuff going on, I actually ended up acquiring at that time a meth habit and started doing meth almost daily. You know, it started out first I was snorting it and then I was smoking it, you know, and it was anything to try and numb the pain of all the stuff that was going on at the time, you know, and I felt like I had nobody and I didn't know how to talk to my wife about it. My wife saved my life that night because she asked two of my friends if they would talk to me and make me go talk to my mom. Please don't let him leave tonight, because if he does, I don't think he's coming back.
Wow.
First off, I want to tell you, Taylor, you're never alone. You always have a support group around you. So I don't want you to ever feel like you're alone. And it is hard. It's hard.
Losing my mom was the hardest loss I ever took, man.
I believe you. I mean, I think that especially in the African American community and the larger American community, we have a tendency to discount feelings as saying the situation is crazy. That's just crazy, man. That's just crazy. And
Mute
you
up,
just
mute up, mute up.
Oh,
Go ahead, Michelle.
that because it's crazy. Wow, that's just crazy. Oh my God, that's just crazy. Okay, look, what I'm telling you, if I sound crazy, if the situation sounds crazy, do more than just sit up there and say it's crazy. That is a cop out. If we sit up there and just discount this man who's dead now, however you want to look at it, whether he ran at the police, they could have done something different or whatnot. The whole situation was crazy. That's a cop out. That's a way to discount it. Crazy shit happens all the time. Kids are walking down the street, they get shot. It's crazy. Move on. People just move on. They say, mark it in the crazy box and move on. I know when I was going through hell, I would even call other attorneys. I had hired other attorneys. And it's like, okay, this judge doesn't want to hear anything we have to say. He don't like you. Why don't he like me? Why doesn't he like me? What have I done wrong? I don't know, Nichelle. It's just crazy. let's figure out why the judge doesn't like me. We did some additional research. We found out some things about the judge in his own personal life. People that you meet along the way have things in their own lives as well. So just saying it's just crazy. That's why I wanted to do this show about this young man. Because we can discount what he did. Oh, he was just crazy. And move on. It happens again. Another police officer confronts someone who's despondent and they shoot him dead. And then you'll have one half of the country saying, well, he should have just complied. He shouldn't have been crazy. Sometimes you can't help being crazy. You just can't help it. You have a mental illness. You have a break from reality. It happens to all of us. So we have to look at this case and say, what can we do? What can we learn from this case? Why did he do it? Why? Don't just sit up there and say, oh, he's crazy and ignore anything that he was trying to tell us. What was he trying to tell us? That's my question. Don't get quiet when I ask a question. I meant what I said. What was he trying to tell us?
He needed some help, and ain't nobody around.
Sounds like he was afraid. And he was afraid.
Yep. And he had nobody. When you respond like that, I mean, we gonna keep it real because it is Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month as well. And like I said, I want to throw that in there because of the fact that I think this is something we need to be riding on. We actually need to have this particular program we're on. Maybe we need to bring some more young people out here that might be feeling that way so we can help direct them. We have to use the resources that we have. It is beyond just crazy. We have become a society and a group of people that sit around and we would rather point the finger opposed to helping somebody. And once you are aware, it's a conversation is too easy. A conversation that you listen and not talk so much, you can hear actually what's going on in people's lives. See, my background it's been a rough one for me. I come from a very wealthy family, but I was abused. And I know how I made it through to the point where I am today as a thriver and to advocate. And that is because of the way I thought. I challenged my own thinking. I read to myself. I refused, and I had a foundation in the beginning that created the stability in my life that I needed. But when it comes to these children, how many more of them out here like that? It's a lot of them out here. How y'all think them kids in Chicago feeling when they going outside and getting shot up on a regular basis? Thousands about a month. Chicago has had the highest murder rate again this year. They have 50 additional murders than they've had in the last 4 years. See, these are issues that we have to start actually looking at and having a conversation about how we go. Everybody got a degree. Everybody is a doctor this and a doctor that. So you mean to tell me we can't get together and have these kind of conversations on BMT and say, how can we help these children, or come over here? We have some resources. We're going to refer you here if you need some help. Because sometimes that's all it takes is for us to pay attention. And we're not doing that. Our children they being murdered. They're being slaughtered in this country. And we are not doing anything.
Imagine being a college athlete and suddenly losing your job. And your only option is to go back to your parents' home. Go back to the neighborhood. Even though your parents may have been loving. Imagine the angst that a person may have been feeling with the idea of, I thought I had climbed out of the proverbial barrel, and now I'm being thrust back in it. Perhaps I remember when my cousin, I'm gonna tell you, like, the Quentin Thomas was a star at UNC. I'm a Duke graduate. I hate UNC, but I love my cousin. He was recruited by the LA Lakers. It was like, woo, 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 woo. During the training camp, he broke his femur. That is a career-ending injury, especially at training camp. He went back home to Oakland. He sat around at the barber shops and told the stories of his grandeur as a UNC basketball player. He even did an album that did fairly well. It was it was featured for the NBA event. Let me tell you what his daddy said. His daddy said, you ain't gonna sit around in my house taking up my air. You got a college degree. You getting out of my house. My aunt called me in a panic. She said, my husband told me he had to get out of the house. Can he come to yours? I said, sure. I met him at the airport, called a few friends from Duke. He got on a plane 2 days later to North Carolina, and he's been successful ever since. But it had to do with his environment. He went back home, and there was a lot of energy for people to hear his story, but there was his past story, but there was not a lot of energy to help him write the next chapter of his life. He had to go back to where he was from, where the story of his success had really begun.
I can understand what you're saying about that.
I mean, my home is always my roots. Understand, my home is my roots. I need my home as my roots. But when you start branching out, when a tree starts branching out, if it spends so much time trying to go back down to its roots, it's going to get heavy. If it don't grow up towards the sun, it's going to wind up growing downward, and it's going to topple over. It's going to get too heavy. That's why people trim plants, so they go up instead of curving down toward their roots again. Anyone who ever has tried to grow a bush or a tree know you got to keep trimming the limbs so that they don't get comfortable trying to go back down toward the roots, that they need to go up toward the sun. And we need to help our sons and daughters go up towards the sun. We know the roots. We know our roots are. Every white person, black person, we got roots. We're rooted in American history. We're rooted, I hate to tell you this, but blood is one of nitrogen. Nitrogen is one of the best fertilizers. We are rooted in the blood of our ancestors in this country. Right or wrong, if it hadn't been for the blood of our ancestors, whether you're white people or black people, white people, please acknowledge that the blood of the Black Americans in this country also helped nourish this country. We acknowledge the blood of the white people nourish this country. You need to acknowledge that the blood of the black people nourish this country as well.
Nichelle, the only white people that don't acknowledge that are ignorant white people. Seriously.
Right. You're right. So we're living in a country where the mutual sacrifices of our ancestors, the mutual blood sacrifices of our ancestors, is why this country is great. We need to stop fighting. We need to stop looking at, well, black people have privilege, white people have privilege. No, let me break it down to you. Hunter Biden has privilege. Sasha Obama has privilege. The rich have privilege. The fact that I can sit up here and tell you that when O.J. Simpson case was going on, our professor sat up there and said, what about Colin Davis? Colin Davis was a white man in Fort Worth, Texas, that said, my wife is lying about seeing me shoot her in the face. The jury believed him.
Say
the woman
what?
was disfigured. Colin Davis case. In Colin Davis' case, his wife, I can't remember her name, she testified at because Colin Davis supposedly murdered her daughter, his stepdaughter, and her boyfriend, the neighbor's husband, and shot the neighbor that saw him coming out of the house. Colin Davis, Racehorse Haynes, attorney. Racehorse Haynes was a spectacular attorney in Texas. He said, "Who are you going to believe, me or her lying eyes? She lied to you."
You're joking, right?
No, I'm not. Colin, look it up.
And
Colin
this
Davis.
never made mainstream media? This wasn't national
They had
news?
a whole movie about it. They had a whole movie about how
I remember
Colin
hearing
Davis,
something like that.
I don't even remember nothing about that.
Yeah, I remember hearing something like that. I just didn't know the details that Michelle's saying, but I remember hearing that. Who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?
Yes, she was shot in her face. She survived.
Wow.
But her attorney, Racehorse Haynes, said, "Who are you going to believe, me or her lying eyes?" And Colin Davis was acquitted for the capital murder of his stepdaughter, his wife's boyfriend, and the neighbor's husband, because Racehorse Haynes convinced them that this woman was trying to get an advantage in her divorce, and that
Capital
she had
murder, that's
hired
the death
somebody
penalty too,
to
ain't
shoot
it?
her in the face. Look, Texas justice ain't what y'all think it is.
Well, I was going to say, isn't capital murder death?
Yeah. Or life in prison. Death or life in prison.
Oh, okay. I
Once you're
thought for sure if you was getting charged with capital murder, you'd basically
convicted of
getting put on death row.
if you're convicted in capital murder in Texas, you can get life instead of the death penalty.
I thought Texas liked killing their convicts.
Only
Yeah,
if
they
they're
have
black.
a lot of them on. Yeah,
Only
they
if
have a
they're
lot of
black
them
or
on
poor.
death row. Let me
Yes,
say something
only if
about
they're
this
black or
case
poor.
because I just heard about this.
So did I.
Yeah, I didn't hear about. I heard that this not the one the show just talked about. I'm talking about the what the show is about. This
Right, me
Noah
too.
Green.
I just heard. Did it just happen a few hours ago?
Yes.
Yeah, it just happened earlier today.
Yeah, go ahead about that, Mike. Because they're saying, we have some people even in the chat. They're saying, well, this has about the NOI. This is about Farrakhan. This is this kind of stuff that they promote. Different kind of stuff like this. And you know it better than me. I that's why I said I'm gonna probably have to sit down with you later, to talk about this. Go ahead about this, Mike. You got the floor.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I just was reading up just a little bit on it. Literally, I heard that it happened, that it was one of the cops, Capitol Police, had got killed by a car running into him, and that they killed the person. That's all I heard on TV earlier today, and now they somehow went to the depths of Facebook posts and pulled out Minister Farrakhan, who's 87 years old, just because they don't like what he's saying. And, of course, we know Minister Farrakhan has been speaking and talking and working with people since, 62 years almost. 62 years in the United States. So, this, to me, this is what I'm going to say about this here. Obviously, the boy didn't have any prior record. Obviously, he was stressed, and which many people are. It's just, to me, I feel like you can live in a country here where it's obvious that they just create a false narrative to gin up support and support behind an agenda that they already have, which is to attack a citizen and a group that they don't like. That's a legal group. Yes, nobody's carrying guns. Nobody's out here doing anything. Now, of course, there's a lot of stuff that, a lot of people don't like that the Nation of Islam says and teach, and that's fine. Everybody's, we're cool to talk to anybody about anything, but to try to create this nefarious narrative as if the Nation of Islam, which has been out here 90 years, literally 90 years, you know, and just like Nichelle said, everybody has roots, so the Nation of Islam has deep roots. You got grandparents, great grandparents. This is a long thing. And, the only thing this kind of narrative is just going to do is just create a lot more, I think, confusion and division, because there's no way that just because somebody listens to Minister Farrakhan, I mean, we got white people that listen to Minister Farrakhan. You had Alex Jones, you can pull it up. He had a big interview, who went to the National Nation of Islam house and did a big interview with Minister Farrakhan. So it's not, I don't know how is that even being brought into it, but to me, it's just some kind of agenda. And, just to touch on what Trailer and Nichelle said earlier, the blood of all of our ancestors, nourishes who we are. And of course, there's things we don't like. Of course, there's things that we want to argue about and maybe debate on and try to come up to it with a solution over. But that's how you do it. You're supposed to, talk and figure it out, and come up with solutions. All of this, I don't know what their plan is. I kind of know we kind of are prepared for this type of thing, because we already know when people don't like somebody, it's really a small group of folks who, and I'm just going to tell you, this is what I think. Right now, you got Bill Gates. He's putting up atmospheric solar dimming stuff. I did a little show this morning on that.
Have you seen his
Right
latest
now.
TED Talk?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen the latest one.
It was just a week ago. Check it out, dude.
Yeah, he's talking about dimming the sun on planet Earth. Okay,
hold on. Let's. I know you about to go down that trope.
No, I'm not going to say that
now.
whole thing. I'm just making that quick suggestion. We're going to stay on this point here. I'm just saying that's happening. Okay, you got war with China's happening. Okay, you got setting up to happen, I should say.
It's inevitable at this
point. Right, because they just did some war games. The United States did some war games. China and Iran made a deal that's going around the sanctions. Okay,
really?
They trying to. Yeah,
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, and but it's just so interesting that there's a certain group of folks who would like to gin up internal divisions, and this is insane to me. So, we'll see how the people respond. Yeah, we'll see how the people respond. Of course, but I don't think it's going to work out the way these
they
folks
planned it.
think it's going to work out.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out like that, because
no.
there's no real connection there. It doesn't even make sense.
Because we all know Louis Farrakhan, them, if they sending somebody after you, they are not going to come like that. We all know this. Everybody on this line that knows about the Nation of Islam, and this is the fact. The thing that's kind of deceitful is that when they start throwing his name out there, and the Nation of Islam as well, as most people know, the Nation of Islam are the only ones that's been in our communities and stand on the corner in any hood, any city, all day long and sell some fruit and the Final Call newspaper. And that's not their character. But you're absolutely right. If they can attack him, and the thing that concerns me is that when you start going after just putting it out there, especially when we talk about the media that we're dealing with right now, these are not people that's going to put out good information. We know this. These are people that feed panic into our society. So now all of a sudden you go have the Jewish people talking about, oh, it was from the Nation of Islam, and he hates Jews. And the picture is a little, and it's a scary thought that they can push an agenda like that. And maybe our responsibility is to challenge that agenda, to stand there and say, no, this don't make no sense. What you need to be doing is focus on how we go help these children out here. That's what we all need to be focused on. How we go put more, and instead of you putting $86 million into putting some children that don't even belong in this country in the hotel. How about you put $86 million into these communities, giving them some mental health clinics? How about some of those things?
Hmm.
Things where
Oh
we
my
can
I've been
Lord!
alleviate
saying
Did
the
you?
that.
Did
problem.
you?
Huh?
I can't
I ain't
believe my
stuttering.
ears. I
I
can't
ain't
believe my
stuttering.
ears.
I'm not
Now,
But see,
stuttering.
that's what I mean. It's
We need
not going to work
fighters.
out the way some of these people think it's going to work out because really and truly, even I mean, like I said, there's a lot of white people disagree with Mr. Farrakhan, but guess what? There's a lot of stuff that white people agree with that Farrakhan says, and it's that's just a fact because it's those conversations have been going on for decades.
right.
So it's not a situation where you know I don't know what their plan is here, and sometimes you just gotta look and see.
What do you
But
mean by
obviously,
plan?
this individual, he, I don't know what. Actually, I literally don't know too much history on it. Like I said, they just kind of blitzkrieging this in, and then they just kind of funneling it out, and because they said Facebook, they're using Facebook as a weapon, and I think they're just playing their card hand too big. I think this too much. It's because somebody made a post talking about, oh, we like this lecture, or I agree with this point. That's not gonna work
So
though.
what are you getting at? That they're trying to say that this was like involved or something, rather than it being
Right.
a
With the
mental breakdown?
Of
well, when I'm
course.
reading here, there's yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you saying?
Now
Radicalizing religion, maybe?
she was nodding her
Yeah.
head because I think she did. I never thought about that angle of it. I
Well,
really
yeah. That's
Yes,
what
didn't.
they
they're.
do.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah. They're
go
gonna
ahead. You're
try to
right.
say.
Well,
Yeah, they're
hell,
gonna
that's
try to
what they
say.
do to. Hey, if you think about it, that's
Mhm.
generally what they do to white folks whenever they do something stupid like that. They try to radicalize it and turn it into, especially when it's a lone person. It isn't the fact that they were just crazy. No, this dude was doing it for an agenda.
Right, right, and that's fine too. But the thing is, just like uh, who's that? Lakeisha's. La, what's your name?
Latricia.
Latisha.
I'm Latrice.
La
Latricia.
The
Teresa,
first
La Trisha.
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
How about we do
Latricia.
this? Call
Okay.
me. I'm LA. The next time I come on, I'll put LA Jones because that is who I am, and
No,
that's
no, I can
fine.
say Latricia. I can say Latricia.
Latricia.
So,
No, but
First E
so
is silent.
Latricia. I'm sorry.
you guys,
Mhm.
Oh
But
you
yeah,
no,
guys.
no,
Auntie La.
no.
So,
What she said basically is instead of using money to like solve problems. I mean, a lot of these problems common sense. It's not hard at all. You got a lot of people who breaking down to the family. You got, I mean, just stuff that we talk about
Dude, how
like
many friends
day
do
in
you
and day
have
out.
in the last year have been divorced? That were married and are
Exactly.
divorced now, or were not married but been together for a long time, had kids, and are
Hmm.
separated.
Yep.
How many friends do you
Right.
have like that now? Because me and my
Hmm.
wife have seen it all over.
And then BMT was in the parking lot of Walmart and all these
yeah,
what you had the drop off spot with
yeah,
the
I was at
with
the
the
bus. Mhm.
You was at the drop
yeah
spot. Oh,
yeah where
damn,
the
I didn't know
kid
you ran like that, bro.
broken families exchange the kids.
Yeah,
You
that's
see,
that's
Oh
so
Lord,
I'm
actually a,
just saying.
that's actually a normal thing now for people to bring their kids to like areas like Walmart or convenience stores and stuff, and they drop their kids off there. Y'all, believe it or not, even the police know that now. Actually, the judge or they will actually advise you go to a library, a Walmart, or some kind of local spot where there's a public area where
Hmm.
it's neutral ground,
Nah,
so
fuck
that
that, dude.
way,
I go get my
so
kids. I'm
that way,
picking them up right from their mom's house.
nah, they're gonna tell you
I
they'll tell
help pay
you
for
Yeah,
that house.
they'll
but
strongly
you got
tell
to think
you.
about it. It's like instead of using money to solve problems, to try to make things easier on people to take stress off of life. Each American is under just immense amounts of stress. People are
That's a
losing their
fact.
jobs. You got, I mean, homeless folks out here just open air jacking off on the
Well,
street. I
look,
mean, they
dude,
got them on films.
and look,
Seriously, this
Mike,
is on film, man.
this ain't this
Yeah,
ain't the typical norm like that either, though, man. These people have been forced out by their own government.
exactly.
That's the issue that's going on. Is this shit has happened to people where it wasn't their fault. Their government literally did this to them. Their
Right.
government.
So
Yeah, and that's the point, and that's what I'm saying, and that's the reason why they want to instead of there's groups of folks that are creating these divisions and instead of solving problems. And this is why I don't know what these mainstream media people are trying to do when they're trying to, pin the target on somebody like Minister Farrakhan, because really and truly, I'm gonna tell you, and he's told, and I've listened to Minister Farrakhan, like I said, since I was 9 years old. So I pretty much know he really don't care right now
Yeah,
because
he
he's
doesn't.
87. He's just
He
running
doesn't
around
care
having
now.
fun.
He's kind of ready to like, okay, I'm getting older now.
Exactly.
My
And you
children,
don't
my
even
children
see.
are adult. Like y'all do know, I think one of his children are in an interracial relationship. So
That's right. His
listen, the
son,
man,
Joshua.
right? So, like I said, that's how I know when they talking about like Farrakhan and white people. Like literally, one of his kids is a interracial child. So
And he told
you
him
got
not to get divorced. He told him his grandkids come over. They're always over the house and at the front.
so
Like, people don't
there.
understand.
So there's a mixed white baby walking around Farrakhan's house. So he can't hate white people that
Every
much.
day.
Literally, there's a
Every
white
day.
child walking
That's
around
his
his house that's
grandbaby.
literally in pictures with him. So
Well,
that's
he
what I'm
can't
saying.
call them white Nazis, can he?
Well,
No,
see,
he doesn't. That's
he
what I'm
doesn't.
saying. Like, see,
But
people don't
they
understand
grab
that
the
they're
clip. They
getting
grab
this
the clip.
secondhand information,
Right.
and that's
They
Right.
the
grab the
issue.
clip.
Trust
You know
me,
what
I
I'm
know
saying?
You're
all
getting the
about. I
secondhand
understand
information.
100% what you're
It,
saying, Mike. I really do.
it, it's like this. It's the conversation that me and L.A. Jones would have 2 or 4 years ago. Somebody hears it, takes a clip out of it, and then they bring it up today, and then
Mhm.
LA says, "Well, shit, that was 4 years ago. What the hell y'all talking about?" Like he doesn't think like that. Like what are y'all talking? Y'all off
Right.
code on people evolve. Their mindsets evolve. Their thinking process evolve. Like I told y'all when I did the show earlier today. You know what I'm saying? And like I gotta get with Mike, and we're gonna probably do a talk about the evolution of the NOI and how it is today. Like again,
What's
y'all do
the
know there are
NOI?
it's the Nation of
Mhm.
Islam. So there are
Okay.
Yeah,
white
that's what's
people. There
called.
are
And see, that's
there
what I
are
mean.
white.
Just like let me say something real quick, just because
Yeah, but
Trailer
I only
asked
got
that
a few more
question.
minutes. I gotta wrap it up. Go ahead, brother.
No. But I'm just saying, like he didn't even. I'm just saying, not talking bad about you. I'm just making a point here. Like
Go
he
ahead.
didn't know what the NOI meant. Like most people in black communities, like if you say the NOI, it's just like secondhand. It's not really thinking about it. So that just
Mike,
lets me know
how
there's a
often?
big part of the community of white folks. They hear one kind of level of what the NOI is, and it's understandable because most of the work of the NOI is directed towards black folks. So, but at the same time, you know, you kind of hearing a certain level of the NOI, which is part of it, but it's for a deeper reason. And so anyway, that's it.
Well, isn't the
Just
Nation of
wanted to make that
Islam
point.
totally different than Islam?
I wouldn't say totally, but I
Well,
would, because I don't want to go. I don't
But they're
want you to
not the
go
same
because
thing.
BMT.
They're
Well,
not the same
like I
thing,
it
said,
though.
I don't want to even answer that question because BMT said he's about to go because it is
right.
a bit of
It,
answer.
but
Yeah, I don't want to get into it
just saying
real
it
deep,
like this.
but I can answer that.
It's like I say.
Sorry.
That's why I said it's no. You're good,
No
Trail.
problem.
No,
No
you're
problem.
fine with that. If you want
We
one
can
day,
talk afterwards, Mike.
if you want, like I said,
Right. We can.
the main thing I want to say, but I know I have to go. And LA, I got you. I got your contact. You know I have to bring you back, Grandma. I got to bring you back so we can do a collab on a lot of work. Also, I got to get Nikki to come back sometime. Shout out
I
to
like
Nichelle. Shout
I
out to
like you,
Nichelle
Teresa.
for because Nichelle
Y'all play
definitely
no games.
Nichelle, you definitely are the bomb for setting up this panel. This is not me. This was Nichelle's panel.
Well, thank you, Nichelle.
So,
Thanks,
like I
Michelle.
said,
Yes.
Thank you.
I know. I listen, y'all. I told
Thank
y'all
y'all for all coming on. No,
when
all of
Nichelle's
y'all.
on
Thank y'all for coming on.
and like I said, when Nichelle's on fire, she's on fire. Shout out to those. We understand. Yes, when you talk about the Capitol, y'all, YouTube gets very sensitive because understand it. You are talking about the Capitol and a lot of things. They're very sensitive about misinformation. So I try to make sure that me and the show we dot our I's, we cross our T's when we bring up that. When you bring up the NOI, listen. I don't like to speak on. Listen, don't talk about it if you don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And Trailer, he asked a good question. What is the NOI? Now, to
Right.
those of us who are of color, it's secondhand knowledge. It's just like because they're around us every other day. Like whenever we
Let me
go to the
explain.
stores.
Explain to white people real quick. Nation
Listen,
of Islam is a
we
group of.
She said he got it.
Yeah,
don't. We
let me
don't.
explain it to them because they don't
Go ahead.
understand.
Leave
The
it to
Nation of
a
Islam
dumb
is a
white dude
group
to
of
mess up your panel,
Muslims that
man.
believe. The Nation of Islam is a group of Muslims that believe Jesus is the Savior. Okay,
Jesus
Yes.
is the savior.
Jesus is the Savior. They there's a combination of they believe in the Quran with a K, not the Quran with a Q, and they believe that
No,
Jesus
no,
is the
Michelle.
Savior.
This is
No,
why. No,
Michelle.
listen.
No, Michelle.
If y'all want, listen, y'all. If y'all want, listen.
With
Trailer,
the K.
Quran. No, it
trailer,
doesn't matter.
What?
Quran, K, Q, it doesn't
You know,
It
it
matter.
would
does
be a good
matter.
idea for me to have a
The
panel about this and
Quran,
let you just
Yeah.
Quran with a
explain.
K
Mike,
believes
I would
Jesus
love
doesn't
is
to
the
have you
Michelle.
come on
Savior.
my panel
Michelle,
and explain
stop.
this shit to white
Michelle,
people.
it doesn't matter. K
Trailer,
or Q.
Quran with
trailer.
believes that
No,
Jesus was a
no.
messenger,
I
Yeah,
love you,
not
Michelle.
the Son of God.
No, no. The blood of Jesus.
Okay.
No. Listen, trailer. If you want to know, ask Super Mike. If you want
Okay,
to know, just have a panel and just invite him over.
Right.
well,
I'll call you, and
And
I'll just tell everybody real quick how I know. How I know. This is
well,
how I know.
no, because BMT wants
Just
to
real
close
quick.
it up,
I'm just
Super
gonna give you
Mike.
my history.
It,
Just real
it
quick.
ain't going to
like
be a
It'll
quick
take less
thing,
than
dude.
it'll
I
take
need
less than
my
10,
well,
20
how about when
seconds.
y'all before y'all close,
yeah, let
make
mama talk.
sure
Let
that
mama
we
talk. Go ahead,
all
mama.
stand up for him. And let's make sure we do this. I think they should have another panel and discuss it because most people need to understand because that's why we failing because of the lack of knowledge. And that
I
way
agree.
we can
Louis
educate. But I
Farrakhan
think right
says
So
now
when you
believe
we
gonna have
have to
your
have
all
a
panel,
plan of
trailer?
action.
Christ is
We
is
have
the
to
When
make
you
redemption.
gonna
Do
have
it.
your
I'll
we
do
are
it
panel?
right now if
standing
you want.
behind this
Okay. Yeah, that's going
president.
over
I'm
when you.
sorry.
I'll
Okay.
start one up right now
Like
while
I
I'm in
said,
Yeah,
here.
we'll
Don't leave
talk.
BMT StreamYard, and I'll give you the link to mine while we're in
so
here.
Okay.
like I said, if y'all like I said, I definitely like I said, y'all can I
No,
definitely
I
want y'all to
got your channel
connect.
too. I can just go
I
on there.
definitely want y'all to connect. Um uh LA Jones, you have my information, but I know you sent me texting in the text message dropping the stuff in there for you. And
Hmm.
like I said, I'm
Hmm.
definitely gonna have you back. Like I said, Michelle, she has no problem beefing me up. Joe, I want to do this. I want to talk about that. I hardly ever turn her down. Sometimes I'm busy, but most of the time we set up times. Definitely, it is child abuse prevention month. I know I'm gonna be busy. I know Carol's gonna be tooting and blowing up my doggone phone. I got a lot of work I got to do. I got a lot of stuff I'm gonna be working with. I got a lot of things I'm going to get done. But I definitely want to get this up because this young man, 25 years old, yes, he is a young man. He didn't have to die. Uh, y'all, listen, I'm going to tell y'all Christians, I'm a Christian also. Y'all don't be running around saying it's the NOI's fault because they're going to throw that same boomerang back at you. Okay, Christians, let's start talking about these shootings and these other things that have been going on in America. So if you don't want that smoke, I'm just
Hey,
saying.
man, I'm the first one to tell you white people are crazy,
No,
dude.
no. I know, but I'm just saying for Christians, y'all have not been on the best behavior in 2020, so y'all might not want to.
2020.
Just saying, we don't have to Google search too far back to pull up y'all resume versus the NOI's one. You gonna have to search pretty hard to find them. Now they pretty good at what they're like ninjas on the internet, but for y'all, it's not hard to find a Christian doing some crazy stuff. We do that on TikTok for fun. So let's not play the religious blame games today. Leave Farrakhan and I'm pleading with y'all. BMT putting his name on this. Leave the old man in peace. He did his work. Let that man rest. They got other younger ministers that are already doing the work, and you don't see them really jumping up. They're like, of course they'll blame us. It's like the blame game. Like, of course the Christians are going to get blamed. Of course the Satanists going to get blamed. Of course the NOI is going to get blamed. Everybody's looking for somebody to blame in 2021. Like, it's just one of those things. The illegal immigrants are just happy because they finally somebody else is on the blame except us this time. So it's shift the blame in America Day. So leave the old man alone. Let him rest with his wife and be in peace. He doesn't. He's with his grandchildren. That's usually what old men like him want to do. They want to be with their grandchildren and be left the hell alone. You know what I'm saying? Even grandma's like, yes, amen to that. Like, he just want to be left alone. He's like, really?
You saw me kissing my grandkids going to bed because that's what
Right.
that's the reality. And you should leave him alone, but we should support him. We should not be a part of that behavior, just like you said.
Hey,
you should not be a part of it.
Right. That's why, like I said, I'm telling you right now, I'm knowing Farrakhan, he probably would have talked to the young man, sat down with him, and tried to get him some counseling and help. So that's why I said he's a pretty chillax dude when talking to people about stuff. He's a very relaxed man. I've watched a few of his stuff. So other than that, you guys, I thank y'all. Y'all have a good night. All
right, man.
Like I said, shout out to those who are in the stream. I'm sure, Trelly, have you had time to get yours booted up?
Yeah, I got it set up to start at 12:35.
Michelle, what you want to say? Michelle, what you
or
want
do you want
say?
me to start it right now? I mean, I can bump it up.
No, you can do the 12:35. I'll be ready and everything. I'll come on over there.
Michelle, what you want to say before we wrap it up there? Go ahead and give us the final benediction. Michelle, you there? All right, I'm passing it over to the Bishop, L.A. Jones. Go ahead and give us the final words of leaving out for the sermon. Anything you want to say, Mr. L.A. Jones?
What we have to do for final words. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me now?
Go ahead and take us home.
Well, I'll tell you this. We have to take responsibility, y'all. We have to pay attention. We have to be alert. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you to Google and make a list of places that we can refer other people to. I think this is a great platform. I think it's time for us to put up and shut up and continue to do the work, because right now, for this month of April, which is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, that is our child. That's all of our child. That's all of these children out here. And I ask each and every one of you to take a stand in your own community. Pay attention to the children in your own neighborhood, in your own churches as well, and be your sisters and brothers keepers. Because this Good Friday today, I am a Christian. And I ain't trying to offend nobody, but I pray to the Father that I serve, the God that I serve, in Jesus' name, that we come together as a people and heal this nation.
All right.
Amen.
All right. Like I said, and shout out to Super Mike. We got to link together and have a talk about clearing up some of the stuff of the diluted message. I know. Listen, that's what I said. You saw me banging hard the shield for the NOI.
Right. I didn't.
Hey, you see what I'm saying?
Dude, seriously, I clicked on. I was like, oh, what the heck?
I know. What the heck they call it? Like I said, you guys. Like I said, I thank y'all for being patient with me. Y'all know my eyes are my old lady looking at me like, nigga, get off that thing.
Right.
You look good, brother. You look healthy.
So,
quit worrying
like
about
I said,
yourself.
thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? Listen, black sometimes don't crack all the way.
I mean, you can only make ugly look so good anyhow.
And real quick too, if y'all know anybody in your communities that has gone through loss during this whole pandemic, please reach out in your communities to any kind of grief counseling that's available. If you know friends that have family that they've lost and they have yet to seek grief counseling, please look that up, refer them to their grief counselors in their area, because a lot of times those services are free of charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And shout out to Carol. I knew she was going to do it. Usually she told us something really deep to make you think, but I think she went easy on us tonight. So I don't want to get my conspiracy queen riled up. She'll most likely drop me an email of something deep that I overlooked about something I missed about Nelson or somebody. So other than that, you guys, I got a lot of work. I swear I got a lot of stuff to go over. But I am going to be doing some further work with Nikki. L.A. Jones, you got a platform. If you ever want to use it, listen, I'm here. Literally, you guys, if y'all would like to contact or get in work, put in some work with y'all, trust and believe. Mike has no problem emailing me. Hell, he got my Facebook, so he throws me all kind of messages. And I appreciate Mike has no problem letting me know about extra. I think he'd be putting me in groups, and I'd be like, how did I get in this group? But I stay up to date with a lot of people. I think it's pretty cool because people can actually stay in touch or contact me,
Yeah.
and they actually is like more hands on. I actually like being hands on with my crowd, with my chat. Shout out to y'all. Y'all literally are about to make us pass over 22K subscribers. So shout out to y'all for that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all the one that
Yep.
makes this message go for me, not just my platform, but for Mike's platform. I saw him. He's growing. I'm seeing other people
Mm-hmm.
growing, trailers growing, different people are growing.
I'm almost
And
300
I
now, man.
keep it going. Like I said, like we do these messages for y'all. So that way LA
Right.
Jones can get out her message, Carol can get out her message, people can get out the message of stuff to actually help our people and other people around the US. And literally we got a lot of work to do. So I'm
Right.
BMT signing off with you guys. I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Y'all have a good night. Please be safe and take mental health seriously, y'all guys. Signing
Right.
off.
Please.
Peace. Good night.